Hello, everyone. Quarantine Theater Company here again with another read. This time we're doing Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, and a wonderful, delightful characters in this one. I'm so excited to introduce our cast, which is Nicole, who is going to be reading as Gamora, Travis, who will be here as Drax, Logan will be reading as Rocket, George will be Groot, and some others. Rudy will be reading as Taserface, and Aisha and Mantis, and Anne will be reading as Nebula. Kevin will be reading as Yondu. Erik will be reading as our scene description, most importantly, but also he's taking on a couple characters as well. Curtis will be reading as Ego, and I will be reading as Peter. So without further ado, go ahead and take it away, Erik.
You got it. Guardians of the Galaxy, Volume 2, written by the master himself, James Gunn. Some stuff about Marvel Studios. Black. Off-screen, Brandy by Looking Glass plays. Exterior, Ford Cobra Mustang Day, Super, Missouri, Earth, 1980. Overhead shot, a 79 Cobra winds alongside the Missouri River, past swaying loosestrife, vibrant sugar maples, and oily self-pump gas stations. A hazy sun glints off the hood of the Cobra, which, like its descendant, the Milano, is orange and teal. We move down and in on a fresh-faced girl of 18 in the passenger seat, Meredith Quill. As Brandy blasts from the car stereo, she pushes her fine, feathered hair from her mouth and sings along out of tune.
Meredith, Nicole.
Damn it. I need this, the script. I'm so sorry. Can you pause it? The script is not loading. It's saying it's broken. The link is broken. I need.
The driver, a mysterious man who in no way looks like Kurt Russell, is in his 30s, dressed in sleek mod attire. He laughs. Meredith laughs too. She sings and dances with abandon in her seat. She's a lively goofball, and it's apparent where Peter Quill received much of his personality. Exterior, Dairy Queen, Woods. Moments later, the Cobra pulls beside this absolutely delicious Dairy Queen in a desolate area. Exterior, Woods behind Dairy Queen. Moments later, the mysterious man helps Meredith down the steep hillside into the woods. Brandy continues to play on the car stereo in the lot behind them. Meredith giggles.
This way, my river lily.
Where are you taking me?
The mysterious snake man shows her a mysterious sprout nestled amongst the trees. A few inches tall and decidedly alien in nature, its delicate limbs twist and turn in a complex pattern.
Oh, it's beautiful.
The mysterious man looks proudly at Meredith with a perpetually excited glint in his eye and the air of a self-empowerment guru. He is an intoxicating presence as Kurt Russell is.
I was afraid it wouldn't take this to soil, but it rooted quickly.
He nods toward the sky between the branches above.
Soon it'll be everywhere, all across the universe, fulfilling life's one true purpose.
Which is what?
Expansion.
The mysterious man takes her in his arms. He gazes into her eyes. She grows almost teary.
I'm not sure what you're talking about, but I like the way you say it.
My heart is yours, Meredith Quill.
I can't believe I fell in love with a spaceman.
I would too. And they kiss with passion and love. Do-do-do-do-do-do, sings Looking Glass as source becomes score, and we tilt down to the plant. It twitches and grows and twists. We push in on it, where we see the plant is made not only of cellulose and leaves, but of a bright cosmic light. And we keep pushing into the plant itself, more flesh-like, and then you'd imagine where colorful bacteria overcomes us as Brandy distorts and transforms into something epic. Off screen, a crack of interdimensional thunder. Super, 34 years later. Exterior, the Sovereign, outer space, an artificial golden planet made of interlocking orbs, revolves around a blue sun. We push in on a thunderous interdimensional cracks on one small planet. Super, the Sovereign, M49, 51L, very long number. Power station day. A dimensional crack snaps in the sky overhead. Peter Quill looks from it to an old Middle Electronics football game converted into a tracker. A red dot approaches.
Showtime, a-holes. It'll be here any minute.
Which will be its loss.
Quill turns toward Gamora, loading a rifle. Drax, Rocket, and Baby Groot also ready themselves for a battle in this grand open-air power station. Dozens of batteries are couched in conductor towers encircling them. Quill, Gamora, and Rocket wear flying rigs.
Is that a rifle?
You don't know what a rifle is?
I thought your thing was a sword.
We've been hired to stop an interdimensional beast from feeding on those battery energies, and I'm going to stop it with a sword.
Don't look at me like I'm stupid. You're the one being inconsistent.
A louder, larger crack. Something seems to be fighting its way through the sky.
Drax, why aren't you wearing one of those rocket's arrow rigs?
It hurts.
Hurts?
I have sensitive nipples. Rocket, who is working on a pair of speakers wired to Quill's Walkman, laughs hard at this as Bradley Cooper would. Drax pointed him. What about him? What's he doing?
If I finish this, we can listen to tunes while we work.
How is that a priority?
Blame Quill. He's the one who loves music so much.
I agree with Drax. It's hardly important right now.
Oh, sure. Okay, Quill.
No,
Rocket, quote unquote, winks at him.
I really agree with him.
Sure, I know.
Rocket winks some more. I can clearly see you winking.
Damn, I'm using my left eye.
Rocket hears a small growl. He looks down and sees Baby Groot, newly been potted, only 9 inches tall or so, angrily throwing aside some foraging Orlani. Then he looks up at Rocket, explaining,
I am Groot.
They were not looking at you funny.
an even larger crack. Rocket swirls as a gigantic beast, 100-foot long, Lovecraftian monstrosity, breaks through the interdimensional rift. The obelisk is the color of a pinky mouse and deadly splatter matter pulsing from its maw.
Well, that's intense.
Rocket, Quill, and Gamora jetpack out of the way while they blast at the creature. Drax hollers, "Ah!" charging it with his twin blades. Quill turns on his mask. But we focus on Baby Groot, who trots up to the stereo speakers and Walkman. Oh my God. He fiddles with 2 wires. They spark. The stereo powers up, and Mr. Blue Sky by Electric Light Orchestra plays as the credits start. Baby Groot dances in focus in the foreground as the Guardians get pummeled by the beast out of focus in the background. Baby Groot's dancing is rhythmic, and many of his dance moves are nonsensical mixtures of trembling, swaying, and making weird faces. But it is joyous. As Groot struts, Quill comes rolling behind him. As he stands, he sees Groot dancing and looks at him. Worried?
Groot, look.
A tentacle flies in from off screen, knocking Quill out of frame as Groot keeps dancing, blissfully unaware. Groot, smiling, dances onward as Drax, in the clutches of a giant tentacle, is slammed numerous times beside him. Ah! 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 Groot arrives as Gamora, who is blasting at the off-screen beast.
Get out of the way, Groot. You're going to get hurt.
Groot stops dancing. He waves at her.
Hi.
She arrow jets back into the fray. As Groot dances, Drax falls directly behind him. Groot freezes. Drax stares at him a moment. Suspicious. Groot stays frozen. Drax leaves, and Groot commences the dance where he left off. Groot sees an insect flying by. Suddenly, dancing is forgotten, and getting this bug is all important, and he chases it. He hops up and grabs it from the air and starts eating it. Rocket spots this and flies beside him, worried. He pries open Groot's mouth with his fingers, frantically trying to get it out.
Spit it out! Spit it out!
Groot coughs it out. The bug flies crookedly away, one wing mulched. Rocket jets off back toward the battle, muttering,
Disgusting.
Groot sees something else and becomes furious. We follow his line of sight to a grazing Orlani. Groot screams a war cry and attacks it. He grows his branches around it, and the terrified Orlani darts away, dragging Groot with it. Groot's anger becomes panic as he is dragged around by the Orlani and can't let go. The Orlani darts around the power station, and underneath the raging battle, a crying Groot bouncing along behind it. Finally, he lets go and goes trembling, rolling directly into the camera. He then stands up, and if none of it happened at all, starts dancing again. We pan and see the speakers and Walkman beside him, and we realize Baby Groot has traveled around the entire power station and has arrived back where he started. When Drax is flung by the beast into the stereo system, smashing it, Groot stops dancing, angry that Drax has ruined his fun. He picks up a piece of stereo and beats him with it. Credits end. Drax stands and glares at the ferocious beast as Rocket, Quill, and Gamora blast it without effect.
The beast hid is too thick to be pierced from the outside. I must cut through it from the inside.
Huh?
Drax hollers, charging the creature.
Drax, no, that doesn't make.
The creature opens its enormous mouth, screeching, and Drax leaps inside it, instantly swallowed up.
What is he doing?
He said the skin is too thick to be pierced from the outside, so
That doesn't make any sense.
I tried to tell.
His skin is the same thickness on the inside as it from the out.
I realized that.
Interior, beast stomach, doesn't matter. Drax hollers as he smashes away inside the goo of the beast stomach, to no avail. Power station day. Quill reloads his pistol, thinking.
Gamora, there's a cut on its neck. Rocket, get up to look up.
Quill and Rocket jet up high over the creature as they blast repeatedly at it.
Hey, you see, monkey? Look up here.
Gamora's rifle is jammed. You gotta be kidding me. She tosses it down, pulls her sword, snaps it open. The beast screeches at Quill and Rocket flying overhead. The colorful splatter matter flies from its mouth, battering Rocket, burning his clothes. But its neck is exposed, where the skin is thinner and there is a small wound. Gamora dashes, leaping high into the air as she plunges her sword directly into the wound. She holds tight to the hilt as she falls, slicing an incision down the length of the creature's neck. The beast wobbles, topples, and dies. As it collapses, Drax spills out of the wound. He raises his arms in victory.
I have single-handedly vanquished the beast.
Quill scoffs. Rocket snorts. Gamora stares at him, dead-eyed. Baby Groot throws a rock at him. Thank you. What? Power station moments later. The Guardians de-rigged by the Analux batteries.
What are they? Oh,
Analux batteries. Oh. Tubular batteries, actually.
that's nothing like what I just said. But they're worth thousands of units apiece, which is why the Sovereign hired us to protect them.
Rocket pulls out one of the Analux batteries, checking it out. Gamora, Drax, and Quill walk on. Rocket stays back a moment. Quill nods down on the walkway where golden sovereign citizens stand at the edge of the station. Okay.
Just be careful what you say around these folks. They're easily offended, and at the cost of transgression is death.
Sounds judgmental for a bunch of golden morons.
Okay, that's the kind of thing you might want to keep to yourself.
I'll hold my tongue as long as they deliver what they promised.
Exterior layer of the High Priestess, mourning an enormous golden palace in the shape of a globe, dappled by morning sunlight.
We thank you, Guardians, for putting your life on the line. We could not risk the lives of our own sovereign citizens.
Interior layer of the High Priestess Day. High Priestess Aisha, played by Elizabeth Debicki, is stunningly beautiful with golden skin. Her chambermaids and other denizens flutter throughout her luxurious lair, all of whom are equally perfect.
Every citizen is born exactly as designed by the community, impeccable, both physically and mentally. We control the DNA of our progeny, germinating them in birthing pods.
I guess I prefer making people the old-fashioned way.
Well, perhaps someday you could give me a history lesson in the archaic ways of our ancestors for academic purposes.
Yeah, I mean, if it's for research, that could be pretty.
Quill sees Gamora staring at him.
Pretty repulsive. I'm not into that kind of casual.
Oh, please. Your people promised something in trade for our services. Bring it, and we shall gladly be on our way.
Aisha nods. Two soldiers emerge with a woman in a hood and cloak, her wrists bound by shackles. They shove her to her knees and yank back her hood, revealing Nebula. Her clothes are tattered. Her hand is now just a low-tech metal claw. She glares at Gamora. Gamora glares at her. Quill looks from one to the other, feeling the tension.
Family reunion. Yay!
I understand she is your sister?
Gamora roughly picks Nebula up, starts to go.
Yeah, that's right. She's worth no more to me than the bounty due for her on Xander.
Our soldiers apprehended her, attempting to steal the batteries. Do with her as you please.
Thank you, High Priestess Aisha.
Quill starts to go.
What is your heritage, Mr. Quill?
Quill turns back toward her, uncomfortable with the question.
My mother is from Earth.
And your father?
He's not from Missouri. That's all I know.
Aisha stares at him as if she's eaten something foul.
I see it within you, an unorthodox genealogy, a hybrid that seems particularly reckless.
Quill tries not to let this affect him, but it does. Rocket grins a huge fake grin at Aisha.
You know, they told me you people were conceited douchebags, but that isn't true at all.
Rocket turns to Quill and winks, his quote-unquote wink. The Guardians shift uncomfortably.
Oh shit, I'm using the wrong eye again, aren't I? I'm sorry, that was supposed to be behind your back.
Drax yanks Rocket away. Gamora and Quill head out of the lair. Drax and Rocket are a few paces behind.
Count yourself blessed they didn't kill you.
You're telling me. Hey, want to buy some batteries?
Rocket grins and shows Drax something hidden in the bag. 2 Analux batteries. Lakeshore Drive by Adiota, Haynes, and Jeremiah plays. Drax laughs. Rocket shushes him so Quill and Gamora don't hear. Exterior Sovereign's space dock, the Milano, moments later. The Milano rises into the blue sunset over the Sovereign space dock, filled with golden capsule-shaped ships. Rocket works the controls as they rise up. He speaks into the comm.
Let's get Baldy back to Xandar and retrieve that bounty.
Interior Milano lower flight deck, outer space. Groot lies on the rear window, peering out the back as they pass overhead. On the cassette player, Awesome Mix Volume 2 is playing. We pan away from it, moving in on Quill, looking perturbed as he takes off his jacket. Gamora is nearby, putting shackles on Nebula.
You all right?
That stuff about my father, who does she think she is?
I know you're sensitive about that.
I'm not sensitive about it. I just don't know who he is.
Gamora nods.
Sorry if it looked like I was flirting with her. I wasn't.
I don't care if you were.
Gamora pushes Nebula to the rear of the craft.
I think you do care, and that's why I'm apologizing.
Quill watches the girl somewhat longingly.
Gamora's not the one for you, Quill.
Quill is startled to see Drax directly beside him.
There are 2 types of beings in the universe, those who dance and those who do not.
Uh-huh.
I first met my beloved at a war rally. Everyone in the village flailed about dancing except one woman, my old vet. I knew immediately she was the one.
Quill nods, trying to be polite.
The most melodic song in the world could be playing and she wouldn't even tap her foot. She wouldn't move a muscle. One might assume she was dead.
Well, that's pretty hot, but
I would make my nether regions engorged.
oh, all right, okay. Fascinating. Don't need to hear about it. I get your point. I'm a dancer and Gamora's not.
Drax smiles kindly, clutches Quill's shoulder.
You just need to find a woman who is pathetic like you.
At the rear of the ship, Gamora roughly restrains Nebula. Nebula notices a bowl of fruit.
I am hungry. Hand me some of that yarrow root.
No, it's not ripe yet, and I hate you.
You hate me? You left me there while you stole that stone for yourself. Yet here you stand, a hero, a guardian of the galaxy.
A what?
Nebula stares at her, very confused.
Guardians of the galaxy.
Oh.
Why would we want to be the gardens of the galaxy?
I don't know. I thought it was stupid.
Yeah, it would be.
It's still wordy.
I wasn't the one who thought of it.
Your name doesn't matter. I'll be free of those shackles soon enough, and I'll kill you. I swear.
No, you'll live out your days in a prison on Xander, wishing you could.
Warning lights flash. Milano flight deck. Moments later, Gamora moves up from the stairs. Rocket and Quill are in the pilot seats. Drax is moving up from the back.
We got an armed sovereign fleet approaching from the rear.
Gamora takes the center seat, sees a rear view scan. God damn it. Golden capsule shaped sovereign Omnicraft with a video screen on front and a blaster on each side. Getting closer.
Why would they do that?
Probably because Rocket stole some of their batteries.
Damn it, Drax. Quill and Gamora look at Rocket astounded. Rocket gawks at Drax. Betrayed.
Dude!
Oh, right. He didn't steal one of those. I don't know why they're after us. What a mystery this is.
The Sovereign fire upon the Milano. Quill does his best to evade their blasts.
What were you thinking?
Dude, it was really easy to steal.
That's your defense.
Oh, come on. You saw that high priestess talk down to us. I'm teaching her a lesson.
Oh, I didn't realize your motivation was altruism. A shame the sovereign have mistaken our intentions and are trying to kill us.
Exactly.
I was being sarcastic.
Oh, you tricked me. You're supposed to use a sarcastic voice. Now I look foolish.
Ha ha ha! Drax points at Rocket and laughs at him.
Shut up, Drax. You knew. You should have told us.
Drax is aghast. He looks at Rocket.
You tell him it was easy to steal?
You kidding me?
What?
You never listened to anything.
None of you listens. Can we please just put the bickering on hold until after we survive the massive space battle?
Rocket glances at Quill, nodding back at Gamora.
Oh, somebody woke up on the wrong side of the bed this morning.
Do not try to bro down with me right now, dude. I will frickin' punch you in the frickin' face.
Real nice, resorting to violence.
More incoming.
More ship fly at them from the front.
Good. I want to kill some guys.
About that, well, they twist and turn between the oncoming ships as Rocket fires at them, screaming. They explode. On the front of the Sovereign ships is the video image of a pilot.
Bloody hell. This is awful.
Miss Powers. Interior, Sovereign Pilot Bay Day. The same Sovereign pilot sits in a remote pod. On a screen in front of her, we see rocket firing. The ship is hit and the screen goes static. The pilot shouts in anger like a kid who lost at a video game. High Priestess Aisha surveys from a walkway above. Rows of pods containing pilots, all flying their Omnicraft remotely. Milano flight deck.
You're not killing anyone. Those ships are all remotely piloted.
Oh, Sovereign Pilot Bay Day. A Sovereign Admiral is beside Aisha.
What is the delay, Admiral?
High Priestess, if we destroy their craft, we risk destroying the batteries. Their extraordinary combustion could, in turn, destroy the entire fleet.
We have thousands of batteries and thousands of ships. Our concern is their slight against our people. We hire them and they steal from us. It is heresy of the highest order.
Admiral speaks into his comm.
All command modules.
A frightened sovereign pilot on the outskirts of the battle hears the admiral in his headset.
Fire with the intent to kill.
Ooh, a mean sovereign pilot firing at the Milano. Smirks. Milano flight deck outer space. The Milano's wing is struck. The emergency systems flash on.
What's the closest habitable planet?
Gamora dances her fingers over the universal neural teleportation network, clicking through jump points until she finds one.
Awesome. It's called Horberg.
How many jumps?
Only one, but the access point is 47 clicks away, and it's through the quantum asteroid field over there.
Quill spots to his side a huge field of small glowing asteroids come onto the Galaxy Quest, swirling in random patterns, disappearing out of space, emerging again a few feet or a few yards away. Quill zooms sideways toward the field.
Quill, to make it through that, you'd have to be the greatest pilot in the universe.
Quill smirks.
Well, lucky for us.
Yeah.
About that, well, Rocket flips the power controls between him so that he's the one piloting the ship. Quill gapes at him. The Milano dives into the quantum asteroid field, swooping in and around the swirling atomized stones, barely missing them. The Sovereign ships follow. They are not pilots on par with Rocket, so most of the ships are immediately pelted with stones and destroyed. Interior Sovereign Pilot Bay Day. One after another, the Sovereign pilot screens go blank or red in the movie, and they fall back, angry and upset. Push in on Aisha, barely containing her fury. Milano flight deck out of space. Quill flips the controls back, so he's piloting again.
What are you doing?
I've been flying this rig since I was 10 years old.
I was cybernetically engineered to pilot a spacecraft.
And Rocket flips the controls back to him.
You were cybernetically engineered to be a douchebag.
Quill flips the controls back to him.
Stop it.
Well, later on tonight, you're gonna lay down on your bed. It's gonna be something squishy in your pillowcase. You're gonna be like, "What's this?" And it's gonna be because I put a turd in there.
Rocket flips the switch back.
You put a turd in my bed, I'll shave you.
Oh, it won't be my turd. It'll be Drax's.
Drax laughs cheerfully. Gamora glances at him. What the fuck? He explains.
I have famously huge turds.
Ew.
We're about to die, and this is what we're discussing.
They raise havoc with the pipes. That's why I do all the plumbing. I take responsibility for my actions, unlike some people.
Drax eyes beat me, Groot.
Groot, he's right. You have to start aiming inside the box.
Groot looks ashamed. Quill flips the controls back.
Stop it.
Rocket twitches it back. Quill switches it back. There's nearing the end of the asteroid field when both go to switch it at the same time, and wham! A huge asteroid smashes through the stern of the Milano living area outer space. A chunk of the rear of the craft disappears. Nebula is sucked toward the hole, but fortunately, her arms are shackled to a post, so she doesn't fly out. Her face and body cover with frost. Milano flight deck outer space. Everything flies around the spacecraft, rushing through the hole. Groot goes flying, but Quill, thank goodness, catches him and casually tosses him back to Drax. You better catch him, Drax. So that he can punch in a code, causing the Milano living area outer space a protective energy shield. Slides up in front of the hole. Nebula collapses to the floor. She yells upstairs.
Idiots!
Not wrong. Milano flight deck outer space. Everyone catches their breath. Relieved.
Well, that's what you get when Quill flies.
Gamora throws something hard at the back of Rocket's head.
There's still a sovereign craft behind us.
The electronics flicker.
Our weapons are down.
20 clicks to the jump.
The mean pilot blasts at them from the whole sovereign craft, taking out another part of a wing. The Milano is trembling. Drax starts climbing down into the living area.
Where's he going?
Interior Sovereign Pilot Bay Day. A group of pilots have gathered around the mean pilot, rooting him on like kids at a video arcade.
Come on, Zylek. You can do this.
Milano living area, outer space. Nebula sees the bowl of a Jarod root has spilled in front of her. She reaches for a piece, but it's kicked out of her way. She looks up to see Drax grabbing a cable on a spool attached to the wall.
Not right.
Drax hooks the cable to the belt. A folder on the wall reads "Spacesuits for emergency," and below that, in Rocket's scrawl, "or for fun." Drax pulls a small disc from the folder. He slaps it between his shoulder blades, and shimmery sheath covers his entire body, a thin force field spacesuit. Milano flight deck, outer space. Gamora watches the map leading to the jump point.
15 clicks.
Another blast from the Sovereign craft hits them. Interior Sovereign Pilot Bay Day. The pilots rooting on the mean pilot erupts into cheers. Milano, living area, outer space. Drax grabs a huge rifle. He punches buttons on the wall. A second protective shield opens up between him and Nebula, and the first protective sheath opens, exposing him to space. Sovereign Pilot Bay Day. The mean pilot watches in awe as Drax jumps out of the back of the Milano. Milano, living area, outer space. Drax smiles. The cable unspools and snaps taut. When it reaches its end, Drax is dragged haphazardly by the Milano like a water sled on a boat. Milano flight deck, outer space. On the map, the jump point gets closer.
10 clicks.
Milano, living area, outer space. The mean pilot blasts wildly at Drax, missing him by mere inches like every stormtrooper. Drax brings the sight to his eye, aims at the ship.
Die, spaceship.
And he shoots, blasting the Sovereign ship. Interior Sovereign Pilot Bay Day. The mean pilot screams as his lights go out or turns red. The frightened pilot shakes his head in disgust.
You suck, Xylac!
Xylac is really sad. Milano flight deck, outer space. As Quill and Rocket leave the asteroid field, it seems for a moment they're scot-free.
Five clicks.
Then dozens of Omnicrap pull around them on both sides.
Son of a... They went around the field.
Interior Sovereign Pilot Bay Day. Aisha smiles. Milano flight deck, outer space. It looks like the end of the road for the Guardians when there is a blinding burst of light and all the Omnicraft explode. Interior Sovereign Pilot Bay Day. Aisha watches in shock as the screens and the pods go dead.
Someone destroyed all the ships.
What? Who?
Admiral doesn't know. Milano flight deck, outer space. Rocket sees the bright white light is emanating from an oval-shaped spacecraft.
What is that?
We'll see the flickering framework of a jump point.
Doesn't matter. That's the jump point. Go, go.
As they're about to reach the jump point, Rocket sees a man standing casually atop the oval ship, light bursting through his body and into the craft, the source of the explosion.
It's a guy.
Quill doesn't see as the Milano disappears into the jump point. Milano living area directly above Bear Herd Day. The ship pops in here, teleporting directly above the Earth-like planet. Because the ship is in such bad shape, parts of it tear off and spiral away as it enters the new atmosphere. Milano flight deck, outer space. Gamora sees Drax being dragged in the rear view monitor.
Oh my God.
Milano living area directly above Bear Hurt Day. Drax whips wildly out of the back of the ship. The cable spool on the wall is coming off. Milano flight deck, Bear Hurt first day. Quill sees a green farce approaching unbelievably fast. He turns toward Gamora, but she's gone and said baby Groot is sitting alone, happily munching on candies as if he's watching a movie.
Groot, put on your seatbelt.
Milano living area directly above Bear Hurt Day. The spool detaches and flies toward the back, which would leave Drax in the upper reaches of the planet's atmosphere. But Gamora has made it downstairs. She grabs onto the spool with one hand while clutching on to a secure part of the ship with her other. She's literally pulling Captain America. As it snaps tight, it nearly wrenches her apart. She groans.
Prepare for a really bad.
The Milano hits the trees, barreling over them. They part and flatten and swat at the windshield. Out back, Gamora holds tight despite searing pain as Drax bounces violently off trees.
Ow, 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 ow.
and eventually the Milano comes to an abrupt stop. Super Berhert Drax pushes himself up in the dirt. He chuckles. He glances back at Gamora like the madman he is.
That was awesome.
Gamora nods. Sure, yeah, okay, whatever, dude. Crash Milano, clearing. Moments later. Crane down, the smoking battered Milano, our heroes, and a still shackled Nebula.
Either one of you could have gotten us through that field if you had flown with whatever between your ears instead of what's between your either one of you could have gotten us through that field if you had flown with what's between your ears instead of what's in between your legs.
If what's between my legs had a hand on it, I guarantee I could have landed this ship.
It's not funny, Peter. We almost died because of your arrogance.
More like because he stole the Anulix batteries.
They're called Harbulary batteries.
No, they're not.
You know why I did it, Star Munch?
Well, fumes.
Do you?
I'm not going to answer to Star Munch.
I did it because I wanted to.
Dick.
What are we even talking about this for? We just had a little man save us by blowing up 50 ships.
A little?
Rocket shows him with his finger and thumb.
Like this.
A little 1-inch man.
Well, if he got closer, I'm sure it'd be a lot larger.
That's how eyes work, you stupid raccoon.
Don't call me a raccoon!
Oh, I'm sorry. I meant to say trash panda.
Rocket pauses, unsure, and then looks at Drax.
Is that better?
I don't know.
It's worse.
You son of a...
Rocket leaps, snapping at Quill when Nebula looks up into the sky.
Someone followed you through the jump point.
A huge spaceship hovers overhead. The Guardians cock their weapons as they fall back to back in tight formation.
Set me free. You'll need my help.
I'm not a fool, Nebula.
You're a fool if you deprave yourself of a hand in combat.
You'll attack me at the moment I let you go.
No, I won't.
You'd think an evil supervillain would learn how to properly lie.
I bet it's the 1-inch man.
Ship lands, crushing all the trees around it. Wow. A hatch opens, and an adventurous outer space frontiersman steps forward. He has grown hardened and haggard over the years, but he is definitely the mysterious man from the beginning of the film. Mantis, a creepy woman with antenna, emerges behind him. The man smiles.
After all these years, I found you.
Who the hell are you?
I figured my rugged good looks would make it that obvious. My name's Hugo. I'm your dad, Peter.
Awesome costume, Curtis. Exterior Contraxia, outer space, quiet, a planet of mostly water and white icy patches of land revolving around two overlapping suns. Super Contraxia. Exterior, the Iron Lotus day. Iron Lotus. Snow falls gently over this sleepy pastel-colored town of wood and stone buildings. Pushed in on the Iron Lotus from Blades of Glory, a robot brothel and saloon, assorted ravagers, including Kraglin, as well as some robotic courtesans, are drunk and giggling, trying to catch snowflakes on their tongues. Interior Iron Lotus suite day, Yondu Odanta is staring out the window as he puts on his pants. He looks utterly disconnected and alone. Behind him are three robot courtesans. One pushes a button on her neck and she powers down.
Yondu, come on down.
Yondu looks down at the street where an older Ravager, Tulk, drunkenly dances, waving for him to join. Interior Iron Lotus moments later, Yondu exits the suite. Two bodyguards, Brawl and Halfnut, salute and follow him as he descends the stairwell. At the bottom of the stairs, a group of Ravagers in blue uniforms laugh. A gruff older warrior, way to go, Rock, Stakar, and a man seemingly made of diamonds, Martinex, are among them. Yondu stops as he sees them. He's struck. Stakar laughs as he tells a story.
And I was like, Aletta, I love you, but you're crazy now. You've always been.
Oh, nice. Yondu approaches Stakar with trepidation.
Stakar!
Stakar is surprised to see him.
Been some time.
Seems like this establishment is the wrong kind of disreputable.
The Bluecoats turn and they walk away.
Stakar.
Stakar glances at the proprietor as he passes her.
There are 100 Ravager factions, Sneeper. You just lost the business of 99 by serving one.
Please, sir.
Yondu stands there for a moment, hurt, as they head out of the door. But little by little, his hurt turns to rage, and he follows. The exterior Iron Lotus Day. Yondu trots quickly towards Stakar and the others.
You all can go to hell. I don't care what you think of me.
Rocky swirls toward him, furious.
Then why are you following us for?
Because you'll listen to what I gotta say.
I don't gotta listen to nothing. You betrayed the code. Ravagers don't deal in kids.
I didn't know what was going on.
You didn't know because you didn't want to know, because it made you rich.
I demand a seat at the table. I wear the flames that same as you.
You may dress like a Ravager, but you won't hear no horns of freedom when you die, boy. And the colors of O'Glory will not flash over your grave. You think I'd take some pleasure in exiling you? You're wrong. You broke all our hearts.
Stakar and the others storm away. Martinex stays a moment, staring at Yondu, and then moves on to Yondu is left alone, shaken at the white snow falls gently on his blue face. Nearby, a monstrous Ravager leans in toward Kraglin, Tolk, Jeff the Ravager, Oblo, and Wretch. As he eyes Yondu, he whispers,
Quill betrays us, and Yondu just lets him go scot-free. Now he's getting all riled over nothing. We followed him because he was the one who wasn't afraid to do what needed to be done. Seems like he's going soft.
If he's so soft, why are you whispering for?
You know, I'm right, Kraglin. You best watch what you say about the captain, Tay.
Who the hell is that?
Tolk stops when he sees High Priestess Aisha approaching beside them. The chambermaids roll out a long blue cloth so she doesn't touch unconsecrated ground. She stops at the carpet's end, does her best to force a smile.
Yondu Udanta, I have a proposition for you.
Yondu looks at her.
When your mother passed away, I hired Yondu to pick you up.
Exterior campfire crash Milano night. Quill sits around a campfire with Ego, Mantis, and the others, eating. Ego indulges heartily.
I would have done so myself, but I was missing an outlandish adventure at the time, battling demonic forces to save this dimension or some such nonsense. Again, I would crawl. It all bleeds together after a while. But instead of returning, Yondu kept you. I have no clue as to why.
Because I was a skinny kid who could squeeze into places adults couldn't, making thieving easier.
I'm trying to track you down ever since.
I thought Yondu was your father.
What?
What? Drax stares at him.
We've been together this whole time and you thought Yondu was my actual blood relative?
You look exactly alike.
One's blue.
He wasn't my father. Yondu was the guy who abducted me. He'd beat the crap out of me so I'd learn how to fight, and he'd keep me in terror, threatening to eat me.
Eat you?
Yes.
That son of a bitch.
Gamora.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yep.
I apologize. How'd you locate us now?
Even where I reside, out past the edge of what's known, we've heard tell the man they call Star-Lord.
He stands, holding his dish to Gamora, handing his dish.
Say, we head out that way now. Your associates are welcome, even that triangle-faced monkey there.
Rocket, self-conscious, feels his nose.
I promise you, it's like no place you've ever seen. And Erik is playing your very special heritage and finally be the father I've always wanted to be. Excuse me. Gotta take a whiz.
Ego leaves. Quill looks at Gamora.
Not buying it.
Peter, we need to talk.
Exterior campfire crash Milano night. Ego is whistling brandy and peeing into the bushes. Mantis looks at Drax. She grins, or at least her best attempt at grinning. It's kind of creepy.
I am Mantis,
What are you doing?
smiling. I hear it is the thing to do to make people like you.
Not if you do it like that.
Oh, I was raised alone on Ego's planet. I do not understand the intricacies of social interaction.
She points a rocket.
Can I pet your puppy? It is adorable.
Yes.
She does. She goes to pet Rocket. Startled. He sort of snaps at her.
Ah!
She pulls back her hand. Drax laughs. Ah!
It's kind of a practical joke.
I liked it very much.
They both laugh together. Nebula shakes her head with disbelief. Exterior, beside Crash Milano. Moments later, Quill and Gamora enter the private spot. The campfire flickers through the trees beyond them.
Give me a break. After all this time, and he just expects me to be a dad, my dad all of a sudden?
I hear you.
I mean, this could be a trap. The Kree purists, the Ravagers, now the Sovereigns, they all want us dead.
I know, but
But what?
you know, what was that story you told me about Zardu Hasselfrau?
Who?
The wonderful television singer man. He had a magic boat.
David Hasselhoff?
Right.
He had a talking car, not a magic,
Why did it talk again?
just to be a good friend, I guess.
And as a child, you carried his picture in your pocket and you told the other children he was your father. But he was out of town and
Shooting Knight Rider or touring with his band in Germany. Why are you bringing this up now? I was drunk when I told you that.
I love that story.
I don't. It's just sad. I was so sad because I'd see the other kids off playing catch with their dads, and I wanted that more than anything in the world.
Gamora takes Quill's hands in her own. Aww.
My point is, maybe this man is your Hasselhoff. I know it's a long shot, but I lost my father as a child, and I'd give anything.
Quill nods grudgingly.
If he ends up being evil, we'll just kill him. What's funny?
Crash Milano sunrise. Inside the ship, The Chain by Fleetwood Mac plays on the cassette player. Nebula is angry. How?
You're leaving me with that fox?
Oh, yeah, that. Rocket is soldering the ship.
He's not a fox.
What does a fox say? Gamora glances at Rocket as she grabs her outer space adventure version of luggage.
Shoot her if she does anything suspicious, or if you feel like it.
Rocket grunts. Gamora looks at sad baby Groot.
It will just be a couple of days. We'll be back before Rocket's finished fixing the ship.
Gamora steps out. Rocket sees Groot, who is about to cry as he watches them go. Don't cry, Groot. Drax and Quill come.
Never mind, you can come with me.
What about your spool of songs?
I have clones.
What if the Sovereign come?
There's no way for them to know we're here. They're here.
I am uncertain. I'm uncertain about parting ways.
You're like an old woman.
Because I am wise?
No. Quill turns to Rocket as Drax and Gamora head toward the ship. He starts to say something nice, perhaps something conciliatory, but
Hope Daddy isn't as big a dick as you, orphan boy.
Quill just shakes his head and snickers.
So what's your goal here? To get everyone to hate you? Because it's working.
Quill turns back around with Gamora and Drax and walks away. Rocket looks at the others leaving as the song becomes score. I can still hear you saying you will never break the chain. Rocket watches them move away. In slow motion, Quill, Drax, Gamora approach the oval ship. The slit opens. Ego with Mantis is waiting inside. Ego smiles and claps his hand on Quill as he enters. Interior, Ego ship sunrise. Quill sits back against the wall, alone, nervous. He looks across the way at the sleep chamber where Mantis helps Ego lie down on the slab. She places her hand on his forehead with her hand, her antenna alight, and he drifts off to sleep. Quill takes a small folded piece of paper out of his pocket. It's the photo of David Hasselhoff. He looks at it, then looks at Ego. Quill's eyes fill with cautious hope, and the song ends. Exterior bird, moments later. Ego ship arises, blocking out the sun. Exterior Ego ship, outer space. The orb moves through a rainbowish funnel of space and time, technology beyond what even the Guardians know. Interior Ego ship, outer space. Quill and Drax are drinking tea and laughing with Mantis.
Can I ask you a personal question?
Oh, no one has ever asked me a personal question.
The antenna, what are they for?
Their purpose?
Gamora enters, pouring herself some tea that Ted Lasso doesn't like.
Yes, Quill and I have a bet.
You're not supposed to say that.
I said that if you are about to go through a doorway that is too low, your antenna will feel this and stop you from being decapitated.
Just making clear, if it's anything else, any other answer, I win.
Gamora smiles, warmed by the good-natured, by now familiar bickering between Quill and Drax.
They are not for feeling doorways.
Damn, I just lost my entire life savings.
3 pairs of pants.
I think they have something to do with my empathic abilities.
What are
If I touch someone, I can feel their feelings.
You read minds?
No. Telepaths know thoughts. Empaths feel feelings, emotions.
She looks at Quill.
May I?
Quill doesn't stop her. Uh-oh. Mantis cautiously touches him. Her hand quivers as his emotions shoot through her, and her antennae alight. She is moved.
You feel love.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I have sort of a general unselfish love for everyone.
No, romantic, sexual love.
No, I don't.
Mantis nods at Gamora.
For her.
No.
Gamora's embarrassed. Drax starts laughing uproariously. Ah!
She just told everyone your deepest, darkest secret, Quill.
What the hell, dude? That's a total overreaction.
Must be so embarrassed. Drax slaps his chest.
Do me.
Mantis touches Drax. She grins brightly.
I have never felt such humor.
She starts giggling, and before long, both she and Drax are laughing hysterically.
You gotta be kidding me.
Seriously, you gotta be kidding me. Drax and Mantis both point at Quill, clutching onto each other and falling over with laughter. Quill's humiliated.
That's so incredibly uncool.
That is that laugh. Mantis wipes the tears from his eyes, composing herself. She goes to touch Gamora, who grabs her wrist through her clothes.
touch me, and the only thing you're gonna feel is a broken jaw.
Okay then. Mantis smiles, nods, and backs away.
Can also alter emotions to some extent.
Like what?
If I touch someone who is sad, I can ease them into contentment for a short while. I can make a stubborn person compliant, but I mostly use it to help my master sleep. He lies awake at night thinking about his progeny.
come in handy in Infinity War. Quill looks at her, struck by this.
Do one of those on me.
Mantis touches him. He grins expectantly.
Sleep.
And Drax collapses, instantly asleep. Mantis smiles at the others, hoping she is pleased. Quill and Gamora look at Drax, snoring. They're surprised.
Is that real?
It's like kind of like someone put a baby's head on a big muscular body, isn't it?
Fade to black. Off-screen, alien insects chirp. Exterior Crash Milano night. 4 moons shine over the forest. The campfire crackles beside the Milano, and Southern Nights by Glenn Campbell emerges from the cassette player within. The monstrous Ravager and Kraglin lead a group of Ravagers up over a ravine. Dozens of M ships quietly lower behind them. Kraglin nods toward the sounds of Glenn Campbell in the distance. They raise their weapons. Overhead shot. Dozens and dozens of Ravagers come from different directions surrounding the Milano. One Ravager cluster, led by Half Nut, creeps close around to the Milano, that they see the lights within the vehicle and can hear Rocket inside humming along with the song. Half Nut licks his lips in anticipation, closing in for the kill. When he steps on a small pedal, it clicks. 100 darts fly at the group from traps set in trees. They stick into the Ravagers' bodies, knocking them instantly unconscious. As one Ravager falls, a gunshot is discharged. Interior Crash Milano night, Nebula is awakened by the shot. She sees a frightened Groot peering through a hole at the bodies falling. Pull back to reveal beside him a futuristic walkie-talkie with Rocket's hums emerging. Exterior Crash Milano, percussive bomb trap night. Rocket is crouched on a limb in shadows above the Milano, smiling and humming to Southern Nights into his calm. He spots a larger group of Ravagers approaching the Milano from the other side, led by Wretch. Rocket leaps toward them from one tree limb to another like a squirrel. Squirrel! The group enters a clearing close to the ship. A tall Ravager looks up and spots Rocket leaping over their heads. There! The Ravagers blast at Rocket, following him. He hops from tree to tree as bullets whiz past him, leading them right where he wants them. He stops in a tree at the end of the run. He holds a device with 2 buttons. He presses one of them. A percussive bomb at the feet of the Ravagers bursts, sending half of them flying up into the air. As the confused group on the group watches, Rocket presses the second button and a second bomb bursts. They fly up into the air as well. Rocket snickers as he continues pushing the buttons, and the 2 groups of Ravagers fly up and down until the bombs are depleted of energy. Wretch looks up from the ground to see the little animal hopping away in tree limbs overhead. Exterior Crash Milano, sticky disc trap night. An even larger group of Ravagers walk beneath the branches, moonlight flickering on their faces. Tilt up to reveal Rocket's silhouette on gnarled limb. He's clutching an armful of small discs. He breathes shallowly, waits. As soon as the last Ravager is passing beneath him, he leaps onto his back. Rocket jumps forward from one man to the next, slapping a sticky disc to each of their heads. Slap, 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 slap. And then he leaps into the Ravager at the front of the line, back up into the trees. The men are confused. They bring their fingers to the sticky discs on their bodies. Rocket smiles in the tree as he flicks a trigger. The sticky discs send electricity coursing through all the men's bodies. They convulse for a moment and then collapse. Exterior Crash Milano, clearing night. Rocket leaps to the ground in a crouch. He sees Brawl approaching in front of him, and then another Ravager approaching from behind. They train their weapons on him.
Ain't so tough now without all your toys, are you?
Such a great line from Kindergarten Cop. Rocket leaps up onto Brawl's face. He punches him in the thorax so hard he can't breathe. The other Ravager shoots at him, but Rocket backflips over the shot, so Brawl is struck instead. Rocket lands on the back of the shooter's back and rapid fire punches him in the head until the man crumples to the ground unconscious. As Rocket lands, he hears whistling as he looks up to see Yondu's arrow flying through the trees directly toward him.
Ah, crap.
Another high-pitched whistle, and the arrow stops abruptly, floating with the tip almost grazing Rocket's forehead. Yondu walls out of the trees with Tol Kraglin, the monstrous Ravager who will be named soon, and many more. Rocket reluctantly raises his hands in surrender.
Hey there, rat.
How's it going, you blue idiot?
Not so bad. We got a pretty good gig. A golden gal with quite a high opinion of herself offered us a large sum to deliver you and your pals to her, so she can kill y'all.
Interior Crash Milano night. Nebula looks out the window to see even more Ravagers surrounding Rocket. He looks at Baby Groot.
Your friend. There's too many of them. They're going to kill him.
Groot looks as if he's about to cry.
He needs my help. If you care about him, you need to get me out of these bonds.
Groot is unsure. Exterior Crash Milano clearing night. The Ravagers have entirely encircled Rocket. There's no chance of escape. Though upset, he mostly holds it in.
Pretty easy to find you. And since we put a tracer on your ship back during the War of Xandar.
Give me your word you won't hurt Groot, and I'll tell you where the batteries are.
Lucky for you, my word don't mean squad. Otherwise, I'd actually hand you over.
Otherwise, you'd what?
Yondu skulls at Chris Sullivan, Mantis Ravager.
We'll take the batteries. They're worth $250,000 on the open market.
That priest just offered us $1 million. A quarter is only a third of that.
A quarter ain't one.
A quarter is 4 times $1 million. We're in the money.
No, idiot. A quarter is 25.
No.
We can't even buy a pair of boots without 25 units.
The point is, we aren't stupid enough to help kill the Guardians of the Galaxy. We'd have the whole Nova Corps on us.
That ain't right. I just gotta say, at this time, Captain. Everyone looks at Kraglin. No matter how many times Quill betrays you, you protect him like none of the rest of us much matter. I'm the one that sticks up for you, me and Tulk.
Damn straight, lad. You're right. He's going soft. Suppose it's time for a change in leadership.
The Mantis Ravager points his weapon at Yondu. Others follow his lead. A handful of others, including Tulk and the innocent Ravager, raise their weapons in their captain's defense, so that the whole circle aiming at one another. Kraglin is so confused.
Put your damn guns down!
Rocket is in the center of the potential crossfire and just as confused.
Hold on. There's some sort of peaceful resolution here. Or a violent resolution where I'm standing over there.
Yondu glares at the Mantis Ravager. His fin lights up and he starts to whistle. When a gunshot rings out, the fin is blown off the top of Yondu's head. The arrow clatters to the ground. Rocket watches as Yondu, confused, totters there for a moment and then collapses, revealing Nebula behind him, clutching a smoking pistol. Rocket looks at her dead-eyed. Really? She shoots him with a blast of electricity, knocking him unconscious. The Ravagers gape at Nebula.
Well, hello, boys.
Well, hello, Nebula. She takes a bite from a piece of the yarrow root she stole from the Milano she chews, and she becomes disgusted. She spits it out.
It's not ripe.
Your sister was right. Exterior red planet. Moments later, Ego ship arrives at a bold red planet, twisting in front of an enormous yellow sun. So close, it seems like the sun is about to devour it. My Sweet Lord by the Beatle himself, George Harrison, plays. Super Ego's planet. Interior Ego ship, sleep chamber, outer space. Mantis sets her hand on Ego's forehead, waking him. Exterior planet / spaceport. Moments later, Ego's ship lands in a spaceport. It organically joins the spot where it lands, strands of material actually linking up with the landing pad itself. From the front of the craft, a floating tram emerges with the Ego, Mantis, Quill, Gamora, and Drax. As the tram glides towards destination, the Guardians are overwhelmed by transcendently splendid surroundings. The plant life is colorful and alien. Tall, twisting obelisks seem to have no function other than beauty itself.
Welcome, my friends, to my world.
Wow. You have your own planet?
A trifle, no larger than your Earth's moon.
Really, I like it. I too am extraordinarily humble.
You know what that means? Even Gamora smiles at the wonder of it all. Multicolored mercurial clumps float by. Drax pokes one and it bursts into a dozen vibrant hues. Exterior tram palace. Moments later, ahead of them looms an astounding palace atop a mountain.
It's beautiful.
The tram stops. They step off it, and toward the palace, Ego stops beside a large fountain.
Peter, consider it as a token of a father's pride.
Ego motions. The waters of the fountain fall away, revealing a giant statue of Star-Lord. Quill stands heroically with foolish-looking guardians kneeling around him worshipfully.
A memorial to the war over Xandar, when you single-handedly saved the galaxy.
Single-handedly.
Whoa. It's perfect.
You've got to be kidding.
Why am I dead? Why did you all kill me?
That's Ronan. That's you.
Drax sitting on Quill's shoulder with a raccoon tail.
When was I that tiny?
Gamora shakes her head in disbelief. They step past the statue and onto the steps approaching the palace.
You own a planet and can destroy 24 spaceships without a suit. What are you exactly?
What they call a celestial, sweetheart.
The Guardians stop behind them, astounded.
A celestial. Like a god?
Small G, son. At least on the days I'm feeling humble as Drax.
He laughs and walks up the stairs. Interior palace moments later, Ego saunters with Quill, Gamora, Drax, and Mantis through the enormous open doors towards huge dioramas lining either side of the palace, like cosmic stations of the cross.
This form you see before you is only an extension of who I truly am. I don't know where I came from exactly.
The dioramas around them begin to animate. In the first, a flickering brain composed of polychromatic light floats in space.
First thing I remember is flickering, drifting in the cosmos, utterly and entirely alone.
The flickering brain pulls cosmic dust and rocks into itself, ingesting them, growing.
I felt on the matter around me like plankton. I grew smarter and stronger.
And 1% evil. A hard metal shell forms around the brain, with channels running through it for his energy to flow like rivers.
I formed a sheath to protect myself from the elements.
Ego continues developing outward from the shell, growing the planet, then its beautiful landscapes and structures.
And continued building from there, layer by layer, the very planet you walk on now. I built the spires reaching up to the sky and the tunnels burrowing into its depths.
Wow.
But I was no man to be fulfilled solely by labor. I wanted more. I desired meaning.
He wants more. In the core shell, the self chamber, the flickering brain floats alone, perhaps sad.
There must be some life out there in the universe besides just me. I thought, and I set myself to task with finding it.
The brain grows a skeletal framework of light up from the self chamber and to the surface of the planet. He pulls molecules around this shape to create his human colossal self.
I create what I imagine biological life might be like, down to the most minute detail.
Did you make a penis?
Dude.
If he's a planet, how do you make a baby with your mother? You would smush her.
I don't need to hear about how my parents,
Why? My father would tell me the story of impregnating my mother every winter solstice.
That's disgusting.
It was beautiful. Your Earthers have hang-ups.
Yes, Drax. I've got a penis.
Oh my god.
It's not that bad. I always got pain receptors, a digestive system, and all accompanying junk. I wanted to experience what it truly meant to be human, and I set out amongst the stars.
You had to ask, Tavis. In another diorama, Ego explores various inhabited and barren plants.
I visited thousands of planets over thousands of years, one barren husk after the next, until I found out what I sought.
Planet. Ego stares down at a cute alien child.
Life. I was not alone in this universe after all.
When did
Ego
you meet my mother?
reminisces, wistful, sad. It's hard to tell.
When did you meet my mother?
Not long after.
Ego turns toward the last set of dioramas. They show Meredith and Ego kissing, and Ego with his hand on Meredith's pregnant belly.
I was murdered that I experienced love for the first time, I call her my river lily. And from that love, Peter, you.
In the final diorama, we push in on the belly and see inside the womb very young Peter Quill, a fetus himself encased in light. Quill looks up in amazement. This story is the story of himself, and Ego gazes at Quill with adoration.
I searched for you for so long. When I heard a man from Earth held an infinity stone in his hand without dying, I knew you must be the son of the woman I loved.
Ego puts his hand on Quill. Quill wants to believe, but he can't quite let it go.
If you loved her, why did you leave her?
Exterior of the Eclector, outer space. The Ravager's massive ship floats in space. Super Ravager territory.
You can't do this.
Interior Eclector central area, outer space. The Ravagers laugh as they drag Tolk across the floor while he struggles to get free.
This is mutiny. Mutiny!
They shove Tolk into a cylindrical room as a glass door closes on him. He continues screaming and slamming on the glass, but we can barely hear him. Halfnut smiles and presses a button. The outside of the compartment opens so that Tolk is sucked into space. Exterior, the Eclector, outer space. Tolk floats away, opening his mouth to scream, but he can't. How dare you kill Tommy Flanagan? His face and body swell quickly, and he expires there. As we curl around his lifeless body, we reveal the countless other corpses of Ravagers loyal to Yondu, leading like breadcrumbs toward nothing at all. Interior Collector, central air, outer space. Yondu watches this helplessly. He's in a chair, his hands tied behind him. He's a wreck, his headpiece destroyed, wires hanging from a gap in his head where the fin used to be. He sees the mutineers grab the innocent Oblo, dragging him to the same fate of Tolk.
Captain, help me! Captain!
Yondu drops his head in shame.
You're the one. What killed those men by leading them down the wrong path?
Punches Yondu.
Because you're weak
Punches him again.
and stupid.
The monstrous Ravager turns toward the Ravagers, who listen, wrapped and vengeful. Nebula leans calmly against a wall, watching all this. Kraglin watches too, seemingly concerned.
It's time for the Ravagers to once again rise to glory with the new cabin. Taser face.
The Ravagers shout in approval. Taserface throws his arms up in glory, and then he hears snickering. He stops. Just like Bradley Cooper. He and the other Ravagers turn and see Rocket also in a chair with his arms secured behind him, giggling.
I'm sorry. Your name is it's Taserface?
That's right.
Do you shoot tasers out of your face?
It's metaphorical.
For what?
Taserface thinks about this. Time for a new answer.
Its name strikes fear in anyone who hears it.
Really? Okay, sure.
Taserface screams at him, spit flying everywhere.
You shut up! You're next!
Taserface goes back to Yondu, bringing out his blade.
Rudolph, I've been waiting to do this for a long time.
Again, they hear the snickering. Rocket is burying his mouth in his chest, trying to stop from cracking up. Having had enough.
Why? Why?
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I just keep imagining you waking up one morning, looking at yourself in the mirror with all serious and saying, you know what would be a really kick-ass name? Taserface!
Nebula even smirks at this. Wow, yeah, she can smile. The Ravagers are trying not to laugh. Rocket can't stop laughing.
What was your second choice? Scrotum hat?
The Ravagers all bust out laughing.
New plan. We're killing you first.
Taserface shoves him back. ready to plunge the knife in him. Rocket's smile disappears. He stares at Taserface with dead eyes.
Well, dying is certainly better than having to live my entire life with a moronic shitbag who thinks Taserface is a cool name.
Taserface goes to stab him when...
That's enough killing for today.
Taserface turns toward her, irritated.
Thought you were the biggest sadist in the galaxy!
That was when Daddy was paying my bills. The priestess wants to kill the fox herself, and he has bounties on his head in at least 12 Creve provinces.
Taserface glares at her. It's obvious he's considering attacking her. Why? Why? Just why?
I assure you, I am not an easiest mark as an old man without his magic stick or a talking woodland beast.
Oh, it's Groot. Yeah, it's Groot. Taserface decides not to risk it.
I want 10% of the take. And a couple more things.
Interior Eclector Docking Bay Hall. Nebula is trying out a brand new hand as Kraglin leads her through his hall. We got a whole bunch of hands if that one doesn't work out.
It's fine.
You think them Kree's gonna execute the captain?
The Kree consider themselves merciful. It will be painless.
Kraglin comes to an open doorway beside a huge docking bay and an M ship decked out with lots of weapons. Well, there it is. Best ship we got. Location of Ego's planets in the nav. We'll wire you the 10% when we're paid. What are you gonna do with your share? Nebula stopped at the doorway.
As a child, my father would have Gamora and me battle another in training. Every time my sister prevailed, my father would replace a piece of me with machinery, claiming he wanted me to be her equal. But she won, again and again and again, never once refraining. Because of them, I am this. So after I murder my sister, I will buy a warship with every conceivable instrument of death. I will hunt my father like a dog, and I will tear him apart slowly, piece by piece, until he knows some semblance of the profound and unceasing pain I know every single day.
Kraglin stares at her, weirded out. Yeah, I was talking about like a pretty necklace or a nice hat. Something that'll make the other girls go, ooh, that's nice. Nebula gives him a look of pure death. Anyway, happy trails. Interior Palace Courtyard Day. Quill looks up at the giant sculpture of his mother. He is upset. Ego is behind him, watching him sadly.
My mother told everyone my father was from the stars.
Quill turns to look at his father, somewhat accusatory.
She had brain cancer, so everyone thought she was delusional.
Ego looks sad and ashamed.
Peter.
Listen, I'd love to believe all of this. I really would, but you left the most wonderful woman ever to die alone.
Ego has tears in his eyes.
I don't want to leave your mother, Peter. But if I don't return regularly to this planet, and a light within this form will wither and perish.
Well, why didn't you come back? Why'd you send Yondu, a criminal, of all people, to fetch me?
I loved your mother, Peter. I couldn't stand to set foot on an earth where she wasn't living. You can't imagine what that's like.
I know exactly what that's like. I had to watch her die.
Ego stops seeming to hear his son. He touches him.
Over the millions and millions of years of my existence, I have made many mistakes, Peter, but you're not one of them. Please give me the chance to be the father she would want me to be.
Quill looks at him, vulnerable.
There are so many things I need to teach you. This planet and the light within, they are part of you.
What do you mean?
Ego takes Quill's hands in his own, gently putting them in the correct position.
Give me your hands, son. There, hold them like that.
Quill holds his hands apart. Ego steps back, holding his hands in the same way.
Now close your eyes and concentrate. Take your brain to the center of the planet.
Quill concentrates. He holds his hand out. A white light emanates it.
Yes, yes.
Whoa.
Whoa, the light disappears as quickly as it came.
Yes, yes, it's okay. Just relax. Concentrate. You can do it. Bring it back.
Quill concentrates and the light once again bursts up from the palms of his hands.
Yes, yes, now shape it.
Ego shows him, pulling in the molecules around him so that the light itself forms the shape of a ball.
Feel the energy.
Quill tries to pull molecules into the ball, and little by little they come, and the ball grows brighter.
Yes.
Quill laughs. Ego is joyous. He almost looks as if he's going to break down into tears. Way to go, son.
You're home, Peter.
Ego cups his hands.
Here.
Quill, smiling, throws him the ball. Ego laughs. He inspects the cosmic ball of light and he throws it back to Quill. Aww. Quill laughs, catching it and throws it back. Ego moves back further and Ego and Quill continue tossing the ball back and forth. They're laughing, a friendly father and son game of catch in the middle of a palace courtyard. Exterior palace day. Drax and Mantis sit here. Exterior palace day. Drax and Mantis sit here, soaking in the sun and gazing at the lush, flowing hills like something an alien Maxfield Parrish would paint.
How'd you get here?
Ego found me in my larva state, orphaned on my homeworld. He raised me by hand and kept me as his own.
So you're a pet?
I suppose.
People usually want cute pets. Why would Ego want a hideous one?
I am hideous?
You're horrifying to look at, yes.
Ah, Mantis seems sad about this. Drax notices this and feels bad. Good.
But it's a good thing.
Oh?
When you were ugly and proud and someone loves you, you know they love you for who you are. Beautiful people never know who to trust.
Well then, I am certainly grateful to be ugly. Poor Gamora. She can never trust anyone.
Drax nods and stares out at the spattered patches of water.
Those pools remind me of a time I took my daughter to visit the forgotten lakes on my homeworld. She was like you.
Disgusting.
No, innocent.
Drax stares out at them without expression. Slowly, Mantis touches his shoulder, and as she does, tears instantly flow down her cheeks. She stares with Drax at the hills. They feel the sadness together. She cries while he's stoic.
I have never met anyone like you or your friends. You are filled with such love. It is a thing I did not know existed, not like this, and I think it may be the very finest of all things. It both hurts and soothes the heart.
She looks at Drax. There's something she wants to say, but she is torn.
Drax, there is something I must tell.
Gamora bursts onto
What's going on?
Drax and Mantis turn to see her behind them. She smiles.
I am learning many things, like I am a pet and ugly.
You're not ugly. Drax.
Drax, confused, points at Mantis as if her ugliness proves herself itself.
Mantis. Can you show us where we'll be staying? I'm getting eye strain in this place.
Mantis nods. Yeah, sure, why not? Exterior path to sleeping quarters. Moments later, Gamora, Drax, and Mantis walk across the sunset.
Oh. Why are there no other beings on this planet?
The planet is Ego. A dog would not invite a flea to live on his back.
And you're not a flea?
I'm a flea with a purpose. I help sleep.
Gamora curls around Mantis, cutting her off.
What were you about to say to Drax before I walked out?
Mantis looks around worried.
Nothing.
Gamora and Drax share a look. Why is she so scared? Mantis moves on.
Your quarters are this way.
Interior, a collector cell, outer space. Oh, here we go. Rocket hits the ground hard. Yondu lands equally hard on the ground beside him. They look up to see Taserface, Jeff the Ravager, and an obtuse Ravager locking the cell door.
We're all delivery to 3 in the morning. Neither one of you gonna last much longer after that.
Rocket crawls toward them as they walk away.
Okay, Taserface. See you later, Taserface. Hey, Taserface, tell the other guys I said, hi, Taserface.
Taserface glances back, perturbed as he disappears around the corner. Interior collector, hallway, outer space. Taserface, Jeff, and obtuse come around the hall.
What about the little planet? Can I smash it with a rock?
No, Jeff, it's too adorable to kill. Bring it to the tailor.
Damn it, Jeff, why would you say that? Interior collector, cell, outer space. Yondu and Rocket settle. Yondu looks like a beaten man.
No offense, but your employees are a bunch of jerks.
I was a Kree battle slave for 20 years when Stakar freed me. He offered me a place in the Ravagers, said all I needed to do was adhere to the code. But I was young and greedy and stupid, like you stealing those batteries.
That was mostly Drax.
Me and Stakar and the other captains, we weren't so different from you and your friends. The only family I ever had. But I broke the code. They exiled me. These ones here are the ones who followed. Of course they're jerks, which is what I deserve.
And slow down, Drama Queen. You might deserve this, but I don't. We gotta get out of here.
Where's Quill?
Yeah, went off with his old man.
Ego?
Yondu looks concerned. Rocket stares at him, picking this up.
Yeah. The day for dumbass names.
Yondu snickers at that.
You smiled, and for a second I got a warm feeling. Then it was ruined by those disgusting ass teeth. You ever heard of floss?
Yondu's smile disappears.
You're like a professional asshole, or...
Pretty much a pro. Why didn't you deliver Quill to Ego like you promised?
He was skinny, could fit into places we couldn't. Good for thieving.
Rocket nods and grumbles.
I got an idea how to get out of here. But we're gonna need your little friend.
Oh no. Interior bar quadrant flight deck, outer space. Baby Groot is wearing a tiny Ravager uniform. He reacts to clothes like a cat, struggling to take them off, but unable. Ravagers are gathered around him, drunk and laughing. They are chanting, mascots.
Little feller's all worked up. Needs a drink.
Reg pours alcohol on him. Wow. The Ravagers laugh more as others pour drinks on him as well. Groot screams at them, furious but helpless.
Look how cute it is when it's all riled up.
It's goddamn precious.
Interior collector cell later. Groot in shadows mopes down the hallway, looking traumatized. His clothes are torn and he's soaked in alcohol. As he passes the cell, he hears,
"Hey, Twig, come here."
Nice whistle. Groot sees Yondu and Rocket looking at him in the cell. He steps toward them slowly.
Oh, man. What'd they do to you?
Hey, you want to help us get out of here?
Groot nods. Rocket looks unsure. Yondu speaks slowly.
There's something I need you to get and bring back to me.
Groot nods.
In the captain's quarters, there's a prototype fin, like the thing I wore on my head.
Groot nods.
There's a drawer next to the bunk. It's inside that. It's red. You got it?
Groot nods apathetically and darts off to get it. Yondu looks at Rocket, please. Rocket looks more than a bit uncertain about that. Interior captain quarters. Moments later, Baby Groot creeps into this dark room. Drunken Ravagers are sprawled everywhere. He spots a bureau. A drawer is half open. His face lights up. Moments later, baby Groot stands outside of the cell, beaming, holding a pair of shorts.
That's my underwear.
Yeah, I was pretty sure he didn't know what you were talking about. You have to explain it more careful.
All right. It's a prototype fin.
And moments later, Groot is back in front of the cell, holding a wriggling Orlani in his hands.
That's an Orlani. It's a fin, Groot.
You explain it this time.
Rocket starts to speak, and moments later, Groot looks hopeful, holding out a cybernetic eye.
That's Vorker's eye. He takes it out when he sleeps. Go look again.
Groot starts to slink off.
But leave the eye here.
Why?
Rocket can hardly speak as he finds this so funny.
He's gonna wake up tomorrow and he's not gonna know where his eye is.
Perfection. Moments later, Groot is dragging a large piece of furniture to the cell.
That's a desk. We told you it was this big.
Rocket shows him how small it is with his hands. Groot makes a face like, oh, as if now he gets it. It's all coming together. Moments later, Groot is holding a severed toe.
Tell me you guys have a refrigerator somewhere with a bunch of severed human toes?
Yondu subtly shakes his head.
Okay, then let's just agree to never discuss this.
Yondu rips the Ravager patch off his jacket.
The drawer you want to open has this symbol on it, okay?
Groot takes it. He looks at Yondu and nods. And then slowly he places it on top of his head.
What? No!
He thinks you want him to wear it as a hat.
That's not what I said.
Groot takes it off his head.
I am Groot.
He's relieved that you don't want him to.
I am Groot.
He hates hats.
I am Groot.
On anyone, not just himself.
I am Groot.
See, one minute you think someone has a weird shaped head, the next minute it's just because you realize that part of that head is a hat. But that's why you don't like hats.
Groot nods.
This is an important conversation right now.
No, let's try again.
Interior, captain quarters. Moments later, Taserface is snoring and slobbering in his bed. Ew. We see the Ravager patch tossed up onto the bed beside him. Then Groot's vines grow up the bed. And he pulls himself up beside the sleeping giant. Groot claps the Ravager patch in his hand and looks fearfully around. He spots the Ravager symbol on a nightstand drawer. He stares at the symbol in his hand, then at the drawer, then at the symbol, then at the drawer again, and then one more time for good measure, and he wants to be very, very sure they're the same. He keeps carefully toward the drawer, growing his vines out to grab the handle and pull it slowly open. He peers inside. Besides some writing instruments and a tin of candies, there lies a red fin, taller and more shark-like or jaws-like than Yondu's current model. Groot smiles hugely, picking up the tin of candies. He's found it! That ain't it. Groot swirls to see Kraglin backlit in the doorway, looming over him, intimidating as hell. And cut to interior collector cell. Moments later, the red fin pops down at Yondu's feet. Yondu and Rocket look up and see Kraglin holding Groot. He stares at the ground. I didn't mean to do a mutiny. They killed all my friends.
We'll get the third quadrant ready for release.
Kraglin salutes.
One more thing.
Kraglin stares at him.
You got any clones of Quill's old music on the ship?
Interior collector bathroom, outer space. Brawl is shaving when suddenly Jay and the Americans come a little bit closer, starts playing over the intercom. He looks up, confused, like out of Shawshank Redemption. Interior, a collector, hallway cell, outer space. Two Ravagers outside the cell hear the music. They turn, unlocking the cell door. As they enter, the camera overtakes them, arriving before they do at Yondu, sitting calmly. Rocket is finishing attaching the big ass fin to his head. It seriously says that. Its electrical system pops on. push in on the two surprise Ravagers, trying to unholster their pistols in time. Too late. Yondu whistles. Perfect. Interior collector closet, outer space. The arrow flies off a shelf of supplies and shoots toward the wall. Interior collector cell, outer space. The arrow punches through the wall behind the Ravagers. They swirl to see it. It shoots through the one Ravager and then the other. And then to Yondu. He catches it and stands. He saunters past the two Ravagers as they wobble and fall. Rocket and Groot follow. On the way out of the door, Rocket looks down and sees two pistols beside the dead Ravagers. He smiles. Interior, captain quarters, outer space. Taserface is awoken by Jay and the Americans on the PA. He glances over to see the open drawer beside him. Sans gargantuan fin. Love that word, gargantuan. Finally use it in a sentence. He scrambled for the comm, yelling into it.
He's got it!
Love your voice, Rudy. Interior, bar, quadrant, flight deck, outer space. The horde of Ravagers hear Taserface's voice.
He's got it! Yondu's got the damn thing!
Go!
Series of shots. Interior, all over the ship. Outer space. All of the Ravagers all over the ship. In a panic, load their weapons and head toward the cell. There's just no point. Just surrender now. Interior collector hallway, outer space. Yondu and Rocket and Groot come around this corner in slow motion. The three biggest badasses in the history of cinema. A horde of Ravagers led by Brawl file in at the end of the hallway, but Yondu whistles. And the arrow twists quickly back and forth, slicing through each of them. Yondu slams through the door into interior, a collector docking bay, outer space. Our heroes step onto the catwalk in this, the biggest space in the collector. There are catwalks throughout dozens of docked M ships. The scurrilous Ravager sees them from above.
Down there!
In an extreme wide angle, we see the arrow flying up and down, backwards and forwards, cutting through all sorts of Ravagers, closer and further from camera. We travel behind Yondu and Rocket as bodies fall around them in slow motion like fireworks. Groot looks up and sees Wretch looking down at him. Wretch flees in terror as Groot grows branches to pull himself behind him. Groot howls furiously, taking chase like George is perfectly doing. Wretch yowls like a child as he frantically runs, but Groot grows his branches around Wretch's legs, tripping him. Bam! He falls face first to the floor, and with a roar cry, Baby Groot flings the sadistic Ravager off the edge toward the abyss below. Huh! As Wretch falls past Yondu and Rocket, Baby Groot drops back onto Rocket's shoulder, and they push their way through the doorway. Interior collector, security dock, outer space. Yondu, Rocket, and Groot move into this area where they look up dozens of security monitors encircling them, showing Ravagers filing toward them from every part of the ship. Yondu whistles as he watches the monitors. On a monitor, the arrow flies out of the wall. He whistles so that it strikes two Ravagers running toward them. It zips out of the room, and interior dark hall, outer space, a horde of Ravagers come running down the hall. The arrow zips overhead, smashing out all the lights so that the hall is completely dark, except for the dim red light of the arrow. And we can just make out the red light smashing through the body of every Ravager there, and then onto interior spaceport, outer space. A yelling crowd of Ravagers come hungry for war when the arrow shoots through the chains, holding a giant spaceship in place over their heads. It falls, instantly crushing them all, and then zips on. Interior bar, outer space. Jeff the Ravager, who wanted to kill Groot, is drunkenly drinking a mug of beer when the arrow zips past him through the mug, shattering it. As Jeff looks at the shattered mug, confused, the arrow comes flying back, ripping through Jeff himself, thank you, flinging him off the bar stool. Now everybody knows your name. Interior collector, security dock, outer space. Rocket also uses the monitor to pinpoint where their attackers are. He methodically shoots through the walls, striking the Ravagers as they get closer. Wide overhead shot. The camera revolves as hordes of Ravagers get close to Yondu and Rocket, but the arrow and gunshots zip through the walls, taking them all down one by one, like Busby Berkeley gone mad. Busby Berkeley. Then Yondu stops, seeing something on one of the monitors. Taserface, clutching a big-ass gun, is marching down the hall toward them. Yondu whistles loudly and angrily. Intercut. Interior engine room security dock, outer space. Taserface sees the arrow coming through around the corner toward him. Yondu whistles again. The arrow bursts into flames. Taserface dodges it. He turns to watch it go, cackling pridefully over his agility. Oh, but his smile quickly dissipates. The arrow plunges into the giant tank, which explodes, engulfing him. Bye-bye, Taserface. Exterior, a collector, outer space. A huge portion of the giant spacecraft explodes, leading to a domino effect of one part of the ship bursting after another. Interior, a collector security dock, outer space. Rocket is dumbfounded as he sees on the monitors the numerous explosions throughout the ship.
You maniac! The whole ship's gonna blow!
Interior, a collector security dock, outer space. A door swings open and Taserface falls onto the floor, engulfed in flames. And he's furious. He angrily slaps off the flames as he reaches for a communications module. Interior, a collector security dock, outer space.
Not the whole ship.
Yondu catches the arrow and walks out. Interior, bar quadrant, flight deck, outer space. Kraglin enters, pulling latches and flipping switches and twisting dials on elementary flight controls. Interior, a collector security dock, outer space. With pained effort, Taserface pulls up a video screen with a sovereign chambermaid.
Who is this? You're not supposed to be in on this line.
I'm sending you to court for Yondu's shit.
Interior, quadrant, flight deck, outer space. Yondu enters with Rocket and Groot.
Release the quadrant.
Ah, Captain. Interior, a collector security dock, outer space.
I only ask one thing. If your high reaches, tell him the name of the man who sealed his fate. Taserface.
The chambermaid laughs uncontrollably at his name. Taserface looks really sad as he explodes. Poor Taserface. Interior quadrant, flight deck, outer space. As Rocket and Groot, frightened, feel the ship exploding around them, Kraglin pulls up one final latch. Exterior, a collector, outer space. The entire rear upper quadrant of the collector detaches from the rest of the ship, while the remains continue exploding Michael Bay style. Quadrant, flight deck, outer space. Rocket and Groot are amazed as the ship thrusts forward, away from the explosions. Kraglin keys into a jump point ahead. Nearby, Rocket pulls up the navigation panel. Where to, Captain? Rocket sets the destination.
Ego.
No, boy.
The quadrant trembles as they hit the jump point. It bloops out of present space, making a jump to exterior desert day. The quadrant pops into the blue sky above a desert with two fighting Cronins. Interior quadrant, flight deck, various other space locations. Inside the ship, Rocket, Yondu, Kraglin, and Baby Groot hold on for dear life as the ship violently shakes and the locations outside the window rapidly shift. Their bodies descend slightly. Yondu is furious.
It ain't healthy for a mammalian body to hop over 50 jumps at a time.
I know that.
We're about to do 700.
Rocket looks bummed. Exterior, pink sky, amoeba blobs, outer space. The quadrant pops out of a jump point into the Pepto-Bismol pink land, smashing through an amoeba-like blob and then through the next jump point. Interior quadrant, flight deck, various other space locations. Kraglin, Yondu, and Rocket and Baby Groot all scream, their entire faces and bodies distorting as if some evil funhouse mirror. Exterior, red planet landscape, various. The yellow sun curves slowly west to east over this magnificent landscape. Bring It On Home to Me by Sam Cooke plays. Exterior, sleeping quarters, veranda day. Tilt down to Quill on this veranda, gazing out at the beauty. The Walkman is connected to small jerry-rigged speakers nearby, playing Sam Cooke.
So I guess this could all be mine someday.
Gamora isn't paying attention. She's fooling with a communications device, which has no reception.
Rocket, you there? Damn it!
Oh my God, Nicole, you look awesome. Quill comes up behind her, messing with her.
What are you doing, Peter?
Dance with me.
No, not.
Come on. This is Sam Cooke, one of the greatest Earth singers of all time.
Gamora lets out an exasperated sigh, but reluctantly starts dancing with him. She is incredibly light on her feet. Quill smiles, and Gamora, despite herself, does as well. He twirls her and brings her back in. This is definitely not the first time they've done this.
Drax thinks you're not a dancer.
If you ever tell anyone about this, I'll kill you.
She's serious. They look at each other.
When are we going to do something about this unspoken thing between us?
What unspoken thing?
This Cheers, Sam and Diane, guy and girl on a TV show who dig each other but never say it, because when they do, the ratings would go down, sort of thing.
There is no unspoken thing between us.
Well, that's a catch-22, because if you said there was, it would be spoken, and then you'd be a liar. So by saying there isn't, you're telling the truth than admitting there is.
That's not.
And Gamora pulls away. Way to go, Quill.
What we should be discussing right now is that something about this place doesn't feel right.
What are you talking about? You were the one who wanted me to come here.
Gamora moves into sleeping quarters day.
That girl, Mantis, she's afraid of something.
And Quill follows her. He stops staring at her, hurt and frustrated. That's what you're thinking about?
Why are you trying to take this from me?
I'm not.
He's my father. He's blood.
You have blood on Earth. You never wanted to return there.
Again, you made me come here. And Earth is the place my mother died in front of me.
No, it's because that's real, and this is a fantasy.
This is real. I'm only half human, remember?
That's the half I'm worried about.
Oh, I get it. You're jealous because I'm part God. You like me being the weak one.
Gamora adds some pieces to her transmitter.
You were insufferable to begin with. I haven't been able to reach Rocket. I'm going to see if I can get a signal outside.
You know, this isn't Cheers after all. It's whatever the show is where one person is willing to, open themselves up to new possibilities and the other person is just kind of a jerk who doesn't trust anyone. I mean, it's a show that doesn't exist. It would never be made and it would be horrible. It would get 0 ratings.
You're having a conversation with yourself. I don't know what Cheers is.
I finally found my family. Don't you understand that?
I thought you already had.
So this is how it ends then. Our whole story. Like this. You and me.
Get it through your head, Peter. There is no you and me. There never was.
Oh, give it a movie. Quill watches her leave. Exterior, Ego's field, sunset. Gamora sits around in the field, alone in the fields, pouting, fuming. She stops, staring angrily inward. 2 plants nearby flitter against one another in the wind, making a clicking sound. She side-eyes them. They don't stop. She slices them off with her sword.
Damn it.
Gamora hears something. She turns to see. In the distance, an M ship flying toward the planet. She watches as it gets closer and closer and realizes it is flying directly at her. Gamora runs. Interior Nebula ship, Sunset Nebula hollers as she blasts her guns, diving toward Gamora. Exterior hillside, Sunset. Gamora flees from Nebula ship like Cary Grant from the crop duster in North by Northwest. Oh wow, it really did look like that. As huge chunks of land explode on either side of her. Gamora leads into a ditch, landing hard as the M ship swoops just a couple of feet above her.
You psychopath!
Gamora sees the M ship banking and flying back at her again. She stands and runs along the hillside as guns blast Gun blast bursts behind her, but Gamora sees a cavern leading down into the earth. She darts into it. Interior Ego's cavern. First, second level sunset. As Gamora runs down the cavern, she glances back over her shoulder where Nebula, insane with rage, continues flying toward her. The M ship enters the cavern, which is too small for it, clipping its wings, but it keeps flying. It again blasts at Gamora as she flees. The blast caused the ground to collapse around Gamora, and she falls, smashing through one level to another level below, slamming hard on the ground. The underside of the M ship gets scraped apart as it flies above her, and pieces of it come raining down around her. Nebula zooms toward a huge cavern wall. She tries to turn her ship in time, to no avail. She sideswipes it, falling down, crashing on the ground, where she is now on the same level as Gamora. Gamora sees something beside her. It's one of the enormous blasters from the M ship, attached to an ammo rig. Interior Nebula's M ship, Sunset. Nebula sees Gamora through the canopy, picking up the blaster and clutching it. It is comically enormous. Nebula struggles to get free and out of the way, but her legs have been pinned in the crash. Interior Ego's cavern, second and third levels at Sunset. Gamora clamps two metal switches together, machine firing the gun as she walks around. The front of the M ship is peppered with glass and then explodes. The explosion causes the thin ground around to collapse, and then an entire ship falls backwards to an even lower level, bursting some more as it hits to the ground. Gamora gazes down at the ship. Nebula's squash M ship, Sunset. Nebula is a mess. Her legs are broken, trapped in the ship. There is a fire at her feet. She struggles trying to get out, but her machine parts are sparkling and she can hardly breathe. It seems that she's going to die when part of the ship is torn away. She sees Gamora. Gamora grabs her unceremoniously, pulling her free just as the M ship explodes, pitching them both to the ground. They lie next to each other. Nebula coughs as her legs are healing, cracking back into place. She looks over and eyes Gamora. And then she hollers and attacks her. Seriously?
Are you kidding me?
Mm-hmm. They fight. Nebula snatches Gamora's blade from her and tumbles on top of her, and she gains the upper hand. She holds the blade above Gamora, ready to plummet it into her. She wants to, she really does, but that the moment is here, she screams in frustration, falls back. Wow.
I win.
Gamora eyes her, a little surprised, really.
I win. I bested you in combat.
No. I just spared your life.
You were stupid enough to let me live, so...
You just let me live.
I win. I don't need you to always trying to beat me.
Nebula, I don't need this. My day has been bad enough. And I am not the one who just flew across the universe because I wanted to win.
Don't tell me what I want.
I don't have to, because you make it obvious.
You are the one who wanted to win. I just wanted a sister.
Gamora stops suddenly struck. Nebula is cracking. Crack.
You were all I had, but you were the one who needed to win. Thanos pulled my eye from my head, and my brain from my skull, and my arm from my body because of you.
Gamora doesn't know what to say. Nebula is almost instantly embarrassed. They sit there for a moment, saying nothing. Exterior sleeping quarters night. The quarters are entombed in stars. The dim sound of brandy comes from within. Interior sleeping quarters night. Quill lies in bed, unable to sleep, listening to the song.
All right, son.
Quill turns to see Ego in the doorway.
I saw your girl stomp off earlier in quite a huff.
Quill sits up, nods.
Yeah.
Ego sits beside him.
It's fortuitous you're listening to this song.
You know,
Brandy by Looking Glass. A favorite of your mom's.
yes.
One of Earth's greatest musical compositions. Perhaps its very greatest.
Yeah, it is.
You and I, Peter, were the sailor in the song.
Ego speaks along with the lyrics as they play.
He came on a summer's day, bringing gifts from far away, like the child I put in your mother, or the freedom you brought Gamora.
Quill listens.
Brandy, you're a fine girl. What a good wife you'd be. But my life, my love, my lady is to see. The sea calls the sailor back. He loves the girl, but that's not his place. The sea calls upon him, as history calls upon great men. And sometimes we are deprived of the pleasures of mortals.
Well, you might not be mortal, but me.
Death will remain a stranger to both of us as long as the light burns within the planet.
Ego smiles.
I'm immortal? That's really?
Yes, as long as the light exists.
And I can use the light to make cool things, like how you made all this?
It'll take thousands of years of practice before we get really good at it. But yes.
Well, get ready for an 800-foot statue of Pac-Man then, with Skeletor and Heather Locklear. I'm gonna make some weird shit.
Ego puts his arm around him, smiles kindly.
I can't wait to see your weird shit.
Wow. Well, that
came out a little disgusting.
Chuckle.
It is a tremendous responsibility, Peter. Only we can remake the universe. Only we can take the brittle of the cosmos and lead it where it needs to go.
How?
Ego holds up his fingers, letting forth a flame of white cosmic light. Quill holds up his fingers, letting forth a smaller, less intense flame of white cosmic light. Reveal Mantis in the hall around the corner, looking at Ego and Quill and the light emanating from their fingers.
Come with me.
Mantis looks like she's gonna have a panic attack. Interior Drax's sleeping quarters moments later. Close up of Drax, sound asleep.
Drax! Drax!
He wakes to see a panicked Mantis sitting on the bed beside him.
Drax, we need to talk.
I'm sorry, but I like a woman with some meat on her bones.
What?
I tried to let you down easily by telling you I found you disgusting.
No, that's not what I...
Drax starts to gag.
What are you doing?
I'm imagining being with you physically.
Drax, that's not... I don't like you like that. I don't even like you, the type of thing you are.
Hey there, no need to get personal.
Listen, Ego's gotten exactly what he wanted. I should have told you earlier. I was stupid. You are in danger.
Person old. Exterior Nebula squashed M-ship night. Gamora and Nebula still sit here quietly and awkwardly. Gamora glances down a twisting tunnel where phosphorescent lights shine brightly.
I don't know what
I'm
that is
so
either.
tired. I'm sorry. So tired. What is it?
She moves toward it. Nebula hesitantly follows. Interior Palace night. Ego and Quill enter the palace.
You need to readjust the way you process life. Everything around us, including the girl, is temporary.
Doesn't eternity get boring?
Not if you have a purpose, Peter, which is why you're here. I told you all those years ago I had an unceasing impulse to find life.
Ego is standing underneath the diorama of him facing the little alien girl.
And tell you how when I did find it, it was all so disappointing.
Interior twisting caverns night. Gamora and Nebula move further down the cavern, stepping into light, getting closer.
And that is when I came to a profound realization.
Interior Palace night.
The innate desire to seek out another life was not so that I could walk among that life.
Ego looks at his son, moved by the memories.
Peter, I had found meaning.
Quill is taken aback, but Ego sets his finger lightly on his forehead and the white light bursts through his son's body. We see the cosmos in Quill's eyes. He looks ecstatic, far beyond where he stands and seems to finally understand.
I see it. Eternity.
Interior twisting caverns night. Gamora and Nebula stop in horror.
Oh my god.
They're staring at piles and piles of skeletons of various species, thousands of them seeming to go on forever.
We need to get off this planet.
Exterior galaxy, universe, outer space, we see traces of the universal neural teleportation network, the quadrant, a blinking light popping in and out on a trail across the cosmos, and then zoom back further to the universe. The same blinking light making its way while Rocket, Yondu, and Kraglin scream, "Ah!" Exterior asteroids, outer space, watchers swirl to the quadrant, swish past them, and jumps out. They turn back to Stanley in a spacesuit with a fishbowl helmet.
Anyway, before I was so rudely interrupted, that time I was a World War II vet.
Oh my god. It all makes sense now. Rudy, you're awesome. Exterior red planet, outer space. The quadrant pops into space. Ego's planet nearby. Excuse me. Interior quadrant flight deck, outer space. Yondu, Kraglin, Rocket, and Groot fall out of their seats, retching, clutching their stomachs.
What the hell you doing, boy?
I can tell by how you talked about him. This ego is bad news. We're here to save Quill.
For what? For honor? For love?
No, I don't care about those things. I want to save Quill so I can prove I'm better than him. I can lord this over him forever.
Because you're the real captain. Yondu laughs bitterly as he pulls himself up to the controls. Rocket yanks himself up beside him.
What are you laughing at me for?
You can fool yourself and everyone else, but you can't fool me. I know who you are.
You don't know anything about me, loser.
I know everything about you. I know you play like the meanest and the hardest because you're actually the most scared of all.
Shut up.
I know you steal batteries you don't need and you push away anyone who's willing to put up with you because just a little bit of love reminds you how big and empty that hole inside you actually is.
I said shut up.
I know the scientist what made you never gave a rat's ass about you.
I'm serious, dude.
Just like my own damn parents who sold me, their own little baby, into slavery. I know who you are, boy, because you're me.
They stare at each other. There, Amir.
Kind of pair are we?
The kind that's about to go fight a planet, I reckon.
All right, okay. Wait, fight a what?
Yeah. Interior Drax's sleeping quarters night. Gamora, furious, bursts into the room. She sees Mantis standing with Drax. She runs her, grabbing her by the neck. Hey! And she slams her against the wall.
Who are you people? What is this place?
Doing here?
Just watching the fireworks.
Gamora, let her go.
The bodies in the cavern. Who are they?
You are scared.
Gamora, whose skin is touching Mantis, lets go of her neck, terrified. Interior Palace night, the dioramas all around Quill and Ego transform into a map of the universe. Quill stares in his cosmic reverie at the planets around him. Thousands of them with pieces of Ego's life form, glowing cosmic plants buried within them.
I call it the expansion. It's my purpose, and now it's yours as well.
It's beautiful.
Quill stares up the diorama. Ego grabs handfuls of his own body engulfed in light and plans with wriggling pieces on various planets.
Over thousands of years, I implanted thousands of extensions of myself on thousands of worlds.
In the dioramas, the cosmic plants overgrow and cover each of the planets like chocolate on a malt ball.
I need to fulfill life's one true purpose, to grow and to spread, covering all that exists, until everything is me.
Interior Drax's sleeping quarters night. Gamora backs away, recovering.
What did she do to me?
She already told me everything.
Interior Palace Night.
I only had one problem. A single Celestial doesn't have enough power for such an enterprise. But 2 Celestials, well now, that just might do.
Interior Drax's sleeping quarters night.
The bodies are his children.
Gamora is horrified. Interior Palace Night. All on the dioramas, we see Ego with hundreds of species of female aliens.
Out of all my labors, the most beguiling was attempting to graft my DNA with that of another species. I hope the result of such a coupling would be enough power to expansion.
Interior Collector Hallway Night. Yondu and Rocket walk here.
I had Yondu deliver some of them to me. It broke the Ravager code, but I compensated him generously. And to ease his conscience, I told him I would never hurt them.
Interior Palace Night.
That was true. They never felt a thing, but one after the other, they failed me. None of them had the celestial genes. Until you, Peter. Out of all my spawn, only you have carried a connection to the light.
Peter smiles. An enchanted idiot. The cosmos in his eyes. Interior Jack's sleeping quarters night.
We need to find Peter now and get out of this damn planet.
Ego will have won him to his side by now. He has a way of...
Then we just go.
No. He's our friend.
All any of you do is yell at each other. You're not friends.
You're right, we're family. We leave no one behind. Except maybe you.
Oh my god.
I feel like Drax's line should have been sung by Groot. Interior Palace Night.
For the first time in my life, I'm truly not alone.
Quill suddenly looks sad.
What is it, son?
My friends.
That's the mortal in you, Peter.
Yes. I don't need that.
What are we?
Forever.
What are they?
Temporary.
You think you love them, but love is merely an evolutionary trick in the service of reproduction. We are beyond such things.
Yes.
Now.
About my mother.
Ego looks at him questioningly.
You said you loved my mother.
That I did. My river lily who knew the worst every song that came on the radio. I returned to Earth to see her 3 times. I knew if I came back and forth, I'd never leave. The expansion, the reason for my very existence would be over. So I did what I had to do. It broke my heart to put that tumor in her head.
What?
Dun, dun, dun. Dolly in on Quill as the cosmos disappear from his eyes. Tears stream down his face.
I know that sounds bad.
Quill pulls out his pistols and fires. The blast tears through Ego, dispersing the molecules forming his body. Quill shoots at him again and again and again and again and again. The flesh disappears from Ego like bites from a cookie, exposing the angry alien skeletal form beneath. But as the charge on Peter's blasters wears out, Ego just looks at him, although he's filled with holes, he's merely disappointed, really.
Who in the hell do you think you are?
You killed my mother!
Ego transforms into David Hasselhoff.
I tried so hard to find a form that best suited you, and this is the thanks I get?
And then once again becomes his usual form.
You really need to grow up.
A spiky cosmic light propelled tendril shoots up from the floor behind Quill and juts into Quill's body. Quill is thrust into the air. He opens his mouth to scream, and white light emits.
I wanted to do this together, but I suppose you'll have to learn by spending the next 1,000 years as a battery Star-Lord.
Interior Drax's sleeping quarters night. Through the window out to the palace, Pantu Gamora watching as her transmitter. The one she was trying to contact on Rocket beeps. She answers.
Rocket?
Gamora follows Drax, Nebula, and a confused Mantis as they move out. Interior laser drill, outer space. Rocket, Yondu, and Groot are crawling into a huge laser drill.
Keep the transmitter nearby so I can find you. We're an old piece of construction equipment Yondu used once to slice open the bank of Escudero.
Ego's unhinged.
I know. Get ready.
Drop it, Kraglin.
Interior quadrant flight deck, outer space. Kraglin yanks a lever. Laser drill, outer space. An ugly, bulbous, and uneven craft plops into the quadrant and heads toward Ego's surface.
I got a plan.
What is it?
That's pretty simple.
Interior Palace 9. Ego walks calmly up beside the trapped Quill. He snatches the Walkman off of him and stares at him. Quill can barely speak.
No!
Ego presses play. A distorted version of Brandy plays. He stares at it. Perhaps he's feeling wistful sadness, or perhaps nothing at all. Brandy, you're a fine girl. What a good wife you would be.
My life, my love, my lady is the sea. Peter, this is the sea.
And the most villainous thing of the movie, Ego crushes the Walkman in his grip as Quill watches helplessly. He went back for that in prison in the first one. The power surges from Quill through the tentacle and throughout the entire palace. Exterior Palace Night, as Gamora, Mantis, Drax, and Nebula run toward the palace, it bursts with cosmic light so brightly they have to protect their eyes. Interior Palace Night, Ego basks in the power and we travel down his legs. Interior Red Planet Self-Chamber Night, we follow the energy through the surface of the planet, through the twisting veins of light underneath, and into an enormous metal orb, the self-chamber, which explodes with light. Boom! Earth, exterior woods, behind Dairy Queen. Yummy, yummy, I want Dairy Queen now. Moments later, we push into a small plant, now a bit larger, that Ego planted at the very beginning of the film. It lights up and grows, instantly bursting upwards. God. Earth, exterior Dairy Queen. Moments later, the planet bursts up behind the Dairy Queen, now a modern DQ, a huge organic blob-like massive light that comes down instantly on the building, crushing it and everyone inside. How dare you take out Dairy Queen? And continuing to spill forward, spreading. Interior Palace Night, Ego summons all his energy, then suddenly a door beside him smashes apart. Drax has kicked through it, and Gamora, Nebula, and Mantis are with him. Ego turns to see them, and then hears rumbling above him. He turns to look at the window on the palace wall behind him, and the giant laser drill comes smashing through the palace wall.
Hey there, jackass!
Ego looks surprised. The laser drill lands on Ego, squashing him. The tendril retracts from Quill as he falls and heaves for breath. Earth, exterior street day. The cosmic plant, barreling down the street, suddenly stops. Interior palace laser drill, sunrise. Drax, Gamora, Nebula, and Mantis rush into the crumbling palace. The door on the side of the laser drill slides open. Baby Groot is suddenly there, smiling and waving.
Out of the way, dumber, smaller Groot.
Damn it, Drax. As Drax crawls in, Groot starts punching Drax as hard as he can. He hit him, probably because he called him dumb. Who's to say? Gamora helps up Quill.
I told you something didn't feel right.
I told you so? That's really what I need right now.
I came back, didn't I?
Because there's an unspoken thing.
There is no unspoken thing.
Denial. Interior laser drill night. Drax, Mantis, Gamora, and Quill step into the door.
What are you doing? You could have killed us all crashing in here like that.
Thank you, Rocket?
We had it under control.
He did not. That is only an extension of his true self. He will be back soon.
Where's Star-Lord?
He will be back soon. What's Smurfette doing here?
Back rubs, dishes, killing gods, whatever I need to do to get a damn ride home.
She tried to murder me.
I saved you, you stupid fox.
He's not a fox.
I am Groot.
I'm not a raboon either.
I am Groot.
A raccoon, whatever.
Okay. Drax looks out the window. Interior palace night. Tentacle-like strands burst up through the palace, flooring all around the drill. Interior palace night. Drax turns to the others.
How do we kill a Celestial?
There's a center to him. His brain, his soul, whatever it is. It's in some sort of a shell.
It's in the caverns below the surface.
Quill climbs up the ladder to see
Yondu?
Nebula looks at Gamora.
If he's got that fin back, I am so screwed.
Palace, sunrise. Yondu thrusts the ship upward for takeoff, but tentacles wrap around the ship and yank it back down into the floor, destroying the foundation of the palace. The entire palace slopes. Interior laser drill sunrise. Everyone falls forward.
Thrusters are out.
Quill starts rewiring the mechanics.
I guess I should be glad I was a skinny kid. Otherwise, you would have delivered me to this maniac.
You still reckon that's the reason I kept you around, you idiot?
That's what you told me, you old doofus.
Once I figured out what happened to them other kids, I wasn't gonna just hand you over.
You said you were going to eat me.
That was being funny.
Not to me.
You people have issues.
Quill sees through the windshield where Ego's creepy skeletal is growing in front of them.
Of course I have issues. That's my freaking father. Thrusters are back up.
Quill thrusts the ship forward instead of up. It crashes through Ego and down the sloping floor and out through the giant pane of glass at the end. Laser drill crack in the planet. Sunrise. Everyone holds on in what's essentially the worst roller coaster drop ever. Oh, come on, I don't want it.
We should be going up.
We can't. Ego wants to eradicate the universe as we know it. We have to kill him.
They plummet toward the fissure in the earth below. It's too small for the ship.
Rocket.
Got it.
Rocket blasts the lasers perfectly, chipping away pieces of rock, forming an opening in the crack. They smash into the opening, barely fitting, leading down into the planet. Quill flies perfectly, twisting through tunnels and around corners. Rocket mans and lasers, blasting pieces out of a plane just in time so they can scrape through.
So we're saving the galaxy again?
I guess.
Awesome. We'll really be able to jack up our prices if we're two-time galaxy savers.
I seriously can't believe that is where your mind goes.
It was a random thought, man. I thought we were friends. Of course I care about the planet and the buildings and all the animals on the planet.
And the people.
Mantis giggles.
The Krabby Puppy is so cute, he makes me want to die.
Drax.
I'm here, I'm Draxing. Your suicidal thoughts sadden me, but your wish will likely come true.
Like Drax on speed.
Quadrant flight. Outer space.
It was not
Meanwhile,
needed.
Kraglin is mellowly hanging out, eating some soup and listening to Wham Bam by Silver as he sees something out in the distance of space. He looks a bit closer. Sovereign Omnicraptor popping through jump points above Ego's planet. Exterior, Aisha's spacecraft, outer space. Aisha is remotely piloting one of the ships. She looks determined and angry on the vid screen. And one by one, Sovereign Omnicraft pop in all around her until there is a large fleet. Interior Sovereign Pilot Bay, day. Aisha, in full pilot gear, yells into her comm.
Pilots, release envoy units.
Exterior Aisha's spacecraft, outer space, smaller, more nimble robotic envoys, like big pods with blasters for arms detached from the front of every Omnicraft.
Our sensors detect the batteries are below the surface of the planet.
Interior Sovereign Pilot Bay, day.
Dive!
Overhead shot on the screens and all the pods. The envoys dive toward the planet from slightly different directions. Quadrant flight deck, outer space. Kraglin, in shock, watches the massive fleet of envoys diving downward. He grabs the comm. Captain? No answer. Captain? Interior laser drill cracking the planet Sunrise. Yondu doesn't hear the crackling speaker beside him as they maneuver through the fissure. Quill eyes him.
So why'd Ego want you here?
He needs my genetic connection to the light to help destroy the universe. He tried to teach me how to control the power.
So could you?
A little. I made a ball.
A ball?
I thought as hard as I could. That's all I could come up with.
You thought?
Quill nods.
You think when I make this arrow fly, I use my head?
What do you use?
They look at each other instead of where they're going, and the crash into an overhanging piece of rock. The entire side door is ripped off as the screech through the smaller space and into interior planet's hollow laser drill day. The laser drill drops into the enormous open space within the planet. The Guardians gather on the side of the ship, open to the hollow, gazing out into its stunning beauty, lit by Ego's white glow running throughout it.
Whoa.
Whoa. Mantis turns, looking through the portholes on the other side.
There. That's Ego's core.
And Mantis points at the self chamber. Down below them, they twist down toward it.
That ore's thick. Rocket, we're gonna need to use that big laser.
Rocket nods, flick switches. All the small lasers on the side move through the grooves to combine into one huge laser in the center of the ship. The mega laser.
We must hurry. It will not take Ego long to find us.
Keep it still.
Quill steadies the craft as best as he can beside the self chamber, but it's an unwieldy beast built for power, not precision. Rocket powers up the mega laser and holds tight to the shuttering controls as it drills, burning a hole into the protective sheath. It melts and drips down.
We drill into the center, we kill him.
Quill holds tight to the steering wheel. Yondu notices the blinking light on the comm. He taps it.
What is it, Kraglin?
Remember that Aisha chick?
Yeah? Why?
Yondu looks out the window where Aisha's squadron is swooping down out of the cracks in the ceiling all around them.
Ah, hell.
Quill pulls away from the envoys, but the sovereign envoys start blasting at the crabs all at once. The laser loses power and vehicle turns sideways. Drax, Mantis, and Gamora go tumbling from the hole in the side. Nebula and Groot grab onto the floor. Interior below self-chamber day, Gamora, Drax, and Mantis fall from an incredible height. They land 1, 2, 3 with a plumb. Gamora looks up and sees the laser drill curl behind the self-chamber as it tries to avoid the envoy's blasters. Interior self-chamber laser drill day. Nebula and Groot settle as the ship rights itself and blasts pierce the ship around them. Quill peers down at Rocket, who has jumped out of the seat and is pouring out the contents of his satchel.
Why aren't you firing that laser?
They blew out the generator. I think I packed a small detonator.
A detonator is worthless without explosives.
We got these.
Oh, Bradley Cooper's got a satchel. Anyway, Rocket shows Nebula the Annulex batteries. Quill leaves the controls to Yondu as he climbs down beside the Rocket, now messing with wiring on his
Is it strong enough to kill Ego?
If it is, it'll cause a chain reaction throughout the entire nervous system.
Meaning what?
The entire planet will explode. We have to get out of there fast. I rigged the timer.
Oh, God. Now he's got to explain it to Groot. Rocket stuffs the bomb back in his satchel. Groot climbs on his back. Rocket and Quill slap on their arrow rigs.
Go.
They run and jump out of the laser drill, flying on their arrow rigs, avoiding the gunfire. The zoom toward the blast hole on the side of the shelf chamber. Interior opening a blast hole day. Rocket and Quill land here, messily tumbling. Interior below self chamber day. Mantis is worried about something else entirely. The entire chasm begins trembling and the walls begin to mutate.
He's coming.
Do you say you can make him sleep?
When he wants, he's too powerful. I can't.
You don't have to believe in yourself because I believe in you.
Damn it, Drax, I don't believe in you. Anyway, they look ahead. They see on the enormous wall in front of them the light form of a giant ego screaming angrily. His scream becomes a tunnel of rocks rushing toward them like a train. Mantis sees a nervous bundle on the ground coming from Ego's core. Although afraid, she grabs it.
Sleep!
She screams with effort, and some pain as energy travels through the bundle and into the core where it darkens. The light leaves the rock formation and it slams into the ground in front of them, splashing dirt over them. But they are safe, shivering. Drax and Gamora look at each other.
I never thought she'd be able to do it, with as skinny and weak as she appears to be.
You've got to be kidding me, Drax. Mantis's arms are trembling.
I don't know how long I can hold him.
You need to, girl. If you don't keep Ego at bay, we all die.
Interior opening of blast door day. Rocket shines a powerful penlight inside the cavity, exposing the interior spattered with Swiss cheese-like holes, glowing with light.
The metal's too thick. For the bomb to work, we actually need to place it on Ego's core. All that fat buds ain't gonna fit through these tiny holes.
Well,
Quill slowly eyes Groot, who is playing with a leaf on his arm and thinking about something else entirely.
That's a terrible idea.
which is the only kind of idea we got left.
Rocket size. He puts Groot on his back and moves with Groot deeper into the blast hole, mumbling to himself.
Unbelievable. Rocket, do this. Rocket, do that.
You're the captain, Rocket. You always will be. Quill turns toward the opening, push up, and in on Quill.
What a day.
He jumps out into the fray. Interior Planet Hollow Day. Quill flies up as a ship flies in toward him, blasting. And he's about to fire back. Man versus spaceship. This is the most likely the beginning of the biggest, baddest fight scene ever. But instead, we cut to interior inside Blast Hole Day. Quiet. Blast in the deep background. Rocket places a tiny bomb in front of Groot. It is a small, simple device with 2 switches and 2 buttons. He explains very carefully.
All right. First, you flick this switch, then this switch. That activates it. Then you push this button, which gives you 5 minutes to get out of there. Whatever you do, don't push this button, because that'll set off the bomb immediately and we'll all be dead. Now repeat back what I just said.
I am Groot.
Uh-huh.
I am Groot.
That's right.
I am Groot.
No, that's the button that'll kill everyone. Try again.
Groot thinks.
I am Groot.
Rocket nods.
I am Groot.
And Rocket nods.
I am Groot.
No, that's exactly what you just said. How is that even possible? Which button is the button you're supposed to push? Point to it.
Groot thinks, and he points to the one that will kill everyone.
No!
Hey, you're making them nervous.
Rocket runs to see at the end of the hole a sliver of the outside as Quill peeks in while shooting at Envoys.
Shut up and give me some tape. Does anyone have any tape out there? I want to put some tape over the death button.
I don't have any tape. Let me check.
I need gaffing tape for this one. Quill disappears from the hole. As Rocket waits, he hears amongst the chaos faintly.
Yo, Yondu, do you have any? Ow. Do you have any tape?
Off-screen gun blasts. We hear voices grumbling. Rocket and Groot look around, waiting. Rocket is impatient. He coughs. Groot is like a bored kid in a waiting room. He shifts around and plays with the wires of the bomb. That could kill them all. Quill reappears outside the hole, shooting an Envoy.
No one has any tape.
Not a single person has tape.
You have priceless batteries and an atomic bomb in your bag? If anyone had any tape, it would be you.
That's exactly my point. I have to do everything.
Dude, you're wasting time.
Rocket turns back to Groot, who has already taken the bomb and is heading toward the hole. Oh boy. He makes a wee sound and smiles brightly as he hops into the hole and slides down as if it was a water slide in stage 16. Rocket, heavy-lidded, watches him go.
We're all gonna die.
Interior, Planet's Hollow, laser drill day. Yondu and Nebula in the cockpit are being overcome as blasts come through the walls.
We're done for without the generator.
Nebula moans, frustrated. She flips open a section of the dashboard and probably flips him off, and then a part of her arm. Anyway, interior, Planet's Hollow, laser drill day. The remaining Sovereign envoys have encircled the battered laser drill, blasting it to bits. Quill flies into the laser drill, slamming into the wall.
Guardians! Perhaps it will provide you solace that your deaths are not without purpose.
Nebula is feeding the wires from the craft into her mechanical arm. Interior Sovereign Pilot Bay Day. The actual Aisha, fitted with the pilot gear, looks at the laser drill on the screen.
They will serve as a warning to all of those tempted with betraying us. Don't screw with the Sovereign.
Seriously. Interior Planet's Hollow laser drill day. Yondu works some switches. The lasers slide back into the slots all over the ship.
This is gonna hurt.
Promises, promises.
Yondu flips all the switches. All the power runs painfully out of Nebula's body into the vehicle. And the lasers beam out of the ship in all directions at once, like a dangerous disco ball, slicing through almost every single envoy. Nice. Interior below self-chamber day. A beam almost hits Drax, but he leaps out of the way. Smoke arises from a hole in the ground between him and Mantis.
Hey.
Interior Planet Hollow laser drill day. With flare, Yondu spins the pilot's wheel so that the whole rig revolves. Aisha looks in horror as the beams slice through remaining craft, and one is coming her way.
No!
And Aisha's envoy is ripped apart. Interior Sovereign Pilot Bay Day. Aisha sits back. She looks around at her other pods. All of them are down.
No! No!
Interior Planet's Hollow laser drill day. Quill sees flaming chunks fly into the rig and fire spilling toward the ship's engine, dripping fuel.
We're gonna blow!
Yondu whistles as the flame hits the fuel. Interior below self-chamber day. Gamora watches as the entire laser drill explodes. She is stricken.
Peter?
She sees a tiny body flying from the ship. It's Nebula, who lands across from her on her feet. Gamora looks at her, worried. Nebula gives her what might be a little smile. She can smile and looks upward. Gamora follows her line of sight. Quill is flying from the explosion on his arrow rig. Yondu is holding onto the flying arrow, his one arm straight, his heels touching. Quill looks at him and snickers.
What?
You look like Mary Poppins.
Is he cool?
Very cool. Quill looks at him, who raised him. He smiles.
Yeah, he's cool.
Yondu looks out at the Guardians as he comes in for a landing.
I'm Mary Poppins, y'all!
Super capper. Never mind. Quill and Yondu land beside Nebula. Gamora sees Quill and marches toward him. The camera circles Gamora and Quill, fiery ship fragments raining down around them in slow motion Matrix style, as if this is the greatest heavy metal video of all time. The other Guardians enter one by one. Nebula, Drax, Yondu, Rocket flying down on this arrow rig, and finally Mantis staring forward with concentration until a huge chunk of spaceship flies in from the side, flattening Mantis. The others all look down at her, shocked.
Oh, wow.
Mantis, unconscious beneath a ship fragment, has lost hold of ego. Oh, crap. And the entire hollow around them begins to rumble. The ground and walls themselves shift and waver. The whole cavity is alive. Drax checks up on Mantis.
She's just unconscious.
Okay. Interior self-chamber tunnels day. Groot runs and hops through the tunnels. He comes to a crossroads. He sees a cosmic light emanating from one tunnel. He dashes off toward it. Interior below self-chamber day.
How long before the bomb goes off?
The unlikely event Groot doesn't kill us all, about 6 minutes.
Yondu speaks into the comm on his lapel.
Kraglin!
Interior quadrant flight deck day. Kraglin nodding out, abruptly awakes.
We need the quadrant for extraction in T-minus 5 minutes.
Captain. Exterior below self-chamber day. Our heroes peer up to see the surface of the planet unfolding above them so that the bright sky shines through.
Someone needs to be up top when Kraglin arrives. Drax, take Mantis.
No. Drax nods. He picks up Mantis. Quill grabs the arrow rig off himself and slaps it on Drax's back, which automatically wraps around his upper body. Uh-oh.
Ah, my nipples.
Anyway, he flies upward. The ground around them splits into enormous cracks. Gamora sees a crack in the earth rushing around her and Quill, and she turns toward him. And Gamora's side crumbles away. Gamora falling down with it.
Gamora!
Oh, not again. Huge bursts of earth shoot up all around Drax, Yondu, Rocket, and Quill. The planet has formed giant tentacles that hurtle toward our heroes. Exterior lower rift day. Gamora is plummeting, seemingly toward death. Really? When she looks over and sees Nebula falling just behind her. Aw. Nebula grabs Gamora's arm and then grabs onto a passing cliff. They snap to a stop. Ow! Hanging down off the side. Nebula tosses Gamora up onto the flat surface. As Nebula climbs up after her, Gamora looks at her, wary but surprised by this benevolence.
Get over it.
Beneficence. Anyway, exterior below self-chamber day. Quill blasts a tentacle. Yondu whistles. The arrow weaving through the tentacles around them. So good at whistling. Rocket tosses a bunch of tiny bombs at some, which they stick to and explode. But they are by no means winning this fight. Exterior planet surface day. The giant quadrant lowers toward the surface. Exterior lower rift day. Gamora looks at Nebula.
We have to get up to the extraction point.
And they look up over the edge and see a huge rift of land rising quickly. They look at each other and jump. They grab onto the edge of the rising rift, clutching to it as it flies upward toward the open space above them. Exterior planet surface day. Drax flies up onto the surface. His nipple's probably still killing him. He sees the quadrant waiting for him there. He darts for the ship. Interior quadrant deck day. Kraglin opens the loading door. Exterior planet surface day, but huge swatches of the planet reach up and grab onto the quadrant, yanking it down. Interior quadrant flight deck day. Kraglin freaking out, throws the thrusters into high gear. Planet surface quadrant loading bay day. The thrusters flare as the massive ship struggles to free itself from Ego's tendrils. And it does pull itself up for a moment, but the tendrils tighten, slamming it back down. The whole quadrant starts to tip over. Kraglin falls down against the side of the ship. Drax sees the ship falling toward him, and he runs away from it in fear. Thought you were a destroyer, Drax. But he arrives at the edge of a cliff. He crouches at the ship, continues down toward him, about to squash both he and Mantis. But Kraglin heroically crawls his way back into the controls as he dangles from them. He pushes on the thrusters so that the ship goes back upright. Drax turns and again runs toward the quadrant. Exterior planet's hollow day. Gamora and Nebula are still rising on the rift when they slam into a wall near the opening in the surface of the planet. Exterior below self-chamber day. Quill turns and sees Ego in his terrifying skeletal light form, strolling down toward him as the land around him parts like the Red Sea. As Ego walks, the dirt and the molecules around Ego form organs in his body, piecing himself back together. Quill sees a tentacle slam Yondu to the ground and cover his entire body. He turns to see Rocket hollering as he fires the tentacles, but they overwhelm him. Exterior, planet surface day, the Earth wraps around Drax's legs like quicksand, pulling him and Mantis down into it. Exterior, planet's hollow, day, Gamora and Nebula scramble, trying to climb back up, and then tendrils wrap around them, stopping them from going any further. Interior, self-chamber tunnels day, the walls are tightening around Groot. Not Groot, he grows his branches. They're trying to stop them, but they aren't working. He begins to cry like an actual baby, terrified, on the brink of suffocate. Exterior, below, self-chamber day, Ego approaches his son. He is fully formed, and he is more truly himself. Alien, dark eyes, pale skin.
I told you, I don't want to do this alone.
Yeah. Exterior, below, self-chamber day.
You cannot deny the purpose the universe has bestowed upon you.
Like win the United States gold medal 1980. Okay. And once again, the light tendrils stab through Quill's back, thrusting him to his knees. Smaller light tendrils that stab into his face and body. And we see the light being sucked out of the Quill, out of Quill, and up into the self chamber once more as it blasts with light. Earth, exterior street, day. Police officers and bystanders are in the streets snapping phone photos, exterior, beside the huge still swatch of Ego's life form.
Nicole.
Hold on just a second. I froze. Literally frozen. Can you hear me? Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, perfect. Hold on. What? Can you? Welcome. Please, everyone, step back. I need you all to clear
What is that?
The life form alights with energy and moves again, spilling incredibly quickly toward them. People abandon their cars in traffic as it runs over them. A woman falls. People trample around her. But as an old man hands reach in, helping her up, reveal Grandpa Quill, who is in almost all of James Gunn's movies, in his 70s or 80s now.
Come on, ma'am.
He helps the woman into an SUV. He slams on the gas, screeching away from the enormous tidal wave of organic light. Xandar, Star Blaster City, day. Ego's life form smashes down the park walls and into the street.
It doesn't need to be like this, Peter.
Exterior, below, self-chamber day. Ego approaches his son.
Why are you destroying our chance?
AA-Con, exterior AA-Con City, night, AA-Con, so it's like saying the other way. Run from a giant wave behind them.
Stop pretending you aren't what you are.
Kree homeworld, exterior steep hillside day. Kree monks run from the cosmic flesh as it pours down the hillside behind them, but it's too fast, rushing over them. Primitive planet day, exterior wastelands day. Thousands of Orlani are darting in fear across this dusty desert as it washes over them.
One in billions.
Arago 7, exterior stony landscape day. 3 Hercrashians run, screaming.
Trillions even more.
Isak, exterior forest night. An Isak monster, a mother, clutches her baby, covering it with her own body as the spreading life form looms behind her. She closes her eyes and waits for the worst. Exterior, below, self-chamber day. Quill looks up at Ego, barely able to focus as the molecules form skin over the muscle and skeleton and innards beneath.
What greater meaning could life possibly have to offer?
Yondu struggles beneath the tentacle beside Quill.
I don't use my head to fly the arrow, boy. I use my...
Quill hears this as the earth covers Yondu's face. Quill looks inward, and suddenly everything becomes quiet. Tears come to Peter Quill's eyes as he remembers those around him and what they mean to him, and we see his memories. Young Peter Quill and his mother cuddled and listening to music on the Walkman together, each with one earpiece. Quill and Drax laughing hysterically on the Milano, Gamora and Peter looking into each other's eyes and dancing on Nowhere. Quill and Rocket flying through the sky on arrow rigs for the first time, smiling as the air rushes through their hair. Baby Groot clutches happily onto Quill's back. Yondu and young Quill in the forest. Yondu's arm is on Peter's arm as he teaches him how to shoot. Quill looks back at Ego as we hear the gentle chords of Fleetwood Mac's The Chain start echoing throughout the hollow. He clutches his fist and we see the light growing within it. Bits of earth begin to roll up and scramble and swirl around Quill's body. His arms, his legs, as if he's pulling them toward himself with magnets, and Ego looks confused. As the ground quakes around him, Quill glares at his father, his voice distorting with celestial thunder.
You shouldn't have killed my mom and squished my Walkman.
124. And a tornado of earth propels Quill forward. Ego tries to protect himself as Quill slams into him, flying upward with him. Quill raises his fist, now a giant club, and he smashes Ego as Ego loses his concentration. Exterior planet surface day, a pair of arms are protruding from the surface of the planet, still holding Mantis aloft. The earth falls away, and Drax, who was entirely covered, heaves for breath. Exterior crack and planet day. The tendrils fall, freeing Gamora and Nebula as they gasp. Exterior below, self-chamber day. Yondu breaks through the rocks around him, drawing in breath. The tentacles holding Rocket aloft crumble, and he looks around, confused, man. Earth, exterior St. Charles, Missouri day. The wave pushes up against the back of Grandpa Quill's Camaro. Hey, it's a Camaro, sweet. And suddenly stops. The mountainous plant, 100 stories high, is up against the back of the car. Isak, exterior forest night. The Isak mother, clutching her baby, looks behind her. The wave has stopped. She clutches her baby to her chest, relieved. Interior self-chamber tunnels day. The tunnel around Groot snaps back to what it was. Once more, he can see the light at the tunnel's end, and one looks like a giant brain composed of prismatic light. He runs forward. Interior inside blast all day. Rocket flies up and yells at Groot.
Groot! Groot, if you can hear me, hurry up. I'm not sure how long Quill can keep him distracted.
Interior self-chamber core day. Groot arrives at the end of the tunnel and stops there. The center of the core holds a huge cosmic placenta, and within that, Ego's true self, the cosmic brain. It rolls furiously, the reflection of its fight with Quill thrashing around within the womb. Although afraid, Groot places the bomb on the placenta. Groot stares at both buttons, scared. He doesn't know which one to pick. Groot makes a decision on which button to press. He goes to push the death button. Then his finger stops just millimeters from the button, trembling. He thinks, and then he changes the course of his finger, pushing the correct button. The countdown clock commences. Baby Groot turns, terrified, and runs. Yeah, you go, Groot. Planet surface quadrant loading bay day. Drax moves with Mantis into a loading bay. He throws her down and climbs up a ladder. The camera swings to Gamora and Nebula climbing up to the surface in the dirt storm. Interior, planet's hollow day. Ego rises on his molecular tornado and strikes back at Quill. He yells and he slams Quill against the wall, dragging his face along the wall. He tosses Quill into another wall. Exterior, below self-chamber, planet's hollow day. Quill brings his arm filled with light away from the wall so that he causes a wave of light and rock around the interior of the hollow, flying to Ego and knocking him aside. Yondu protects his face as dirt swirls in the wake of the Quill Ego battle. Rocket, carrying Groot, flies back down beside him.
Yondu, we're about to blow.
Get to the ship.
Not without Quill.
You gotta take care of the twig.
Not without you.
I ain't done nothing right my whole damn life, Rat. You need to give me this.
Rocket hesitantly nods. He grabs some things from his bag. He hands them to Yondu.
A spacesuit and an aero rig. I only have one of each.
Yondu nods. Rocket nods too. Rocket starts to go, but stops and looks at Yondu. He wants to say something, but he doesn't know what. Maybe Groot does.
I am Groot.
What's that?
He says, welcome to the frickin' Guardians of the Galaxy. Only he didn't use frickin'.
Bye, Twig.
Way to go, Dr. Abel. Groot waves. And Rocket flies up toward the surface. Rocket mutters to Groot.
We don't need to have a discussion about your language.
Well, he's just getting started. Exterior, below self-chamber, planet's hollow day. Ego slams Quill back against the wall. Ego pulls the huge rocks away from the wall, flying them toward him and battering him there. Ego and Quill fly toward each other. Ego uses the light to bring rocks to his body, forming a giant avatar of himself. Quill brings yellow rocks to his body, forming a giant Pac-Man. Oh, yeah. Ego's form flies into Pac-Man's mouth so hard that there's a sonic boom. They fall, tumbling, still striking one another on the way down. They land hard. Interior, self-chamber core, day. The timer counts down, a minute left. Interior, exterior, planet, surface, quadrant loading bay, day. Gamora and Nebula are caring for Mantis as Rocket and Groot arrive.
Where's Peter?
Rocket doesn't answer, or he can't answer.
Rocket? Where is he?
Rocket looks down at the timer in his hand. The time is almost there.
Rocket! Rocket, look at me! Where is he?
Rocket just shakes his head a little, but Groot points sadly outside.
I'm not leaving without him.
Gamora hardens. She stands and snatches a rifle off the wall. She cocks it. She starts out the bay door. When an electrical blast hits her from behind, she falls over unconscious, revealing Rocket with his gun.
Sorry. I can only afford to lose one friend today. Kraglin, go!
Interior, quadrant flight deck day. Drax looks uncertain as Kraglin pushes thrust.
Wait, is Quill back? Rocket, where's Quill?
Where were you for the conversation? Interior, exterior, planet surface, quadrant loading bay day. Rocket looks sadly out the bay door as it closes. Drax's voice echoes on this comm.
Where's Quill? Where's Quill? Quill.
Exterior, below self-chamber day. Quill and Ego are exhausted, on their knees and leaning against one another like boxers after too many rounds. Interior, self-chamber core day. The timer reads 26 seconds. Exterior, below self-chamber day. Ego reaches for the core.
You're muted.
No, we need to stop it.
Quill throws him to the ground, but Ego comes back up, grasping his son's jacket, pleading with him now.
Listen to me. You are a god. If you kill me, you'll just be like everyone else.
What's so wrong with that?
Ego looks at his son, scared.
No!
Interior, self-chamber core day. The countdown reaches 0. The brain explodes. Interior, exterior, Ego's nervous system day. The explosion causes the life forces to burst through the entire planet. Exterior, below self-chamber day. Everything around Quill is exploding. He looks down at his hand where the glow fades and disappears. He gazes up at the mammoth walls around him as they blow up and collapse. He lowers that head at peace with the death that's coming, and when from the side through the debris, Yondu is flying toward him on an aero rig. Yondu grabs him almost almost a tackle, really lifting him up and flying away. Exterior planet's hollow day as Yondu and Quill fly upward. Oh no, not this scene. The planet explodes behind them, flames licking their heels, huge stretches of the planet caving in. Exterior sky day. Yondu holds surprised Quill as they soar up into the sky.
He may have been your father, boy, but he wasn't your daddy.
What?
I'm sorry I didn't do it right. I'm damn lucky you're my boy.
Quill is touched, like the entire audience. Yondu slaps the spacesuit disc around Quill. The shimmery sheath covers him.
What?
Yondu breathes out as completely as he can, emptying his lungs as they exit the planet's atmosphere, bursting into exterior space, outer space. Quill struggles to get free, but Yondu holds him there, trapping him. But it is also an embrace. The entire planet is collapsing behind him.
Yondu, you can't. What are you doing? What are you doing?
Yondu's jetpack expires its supply of fuel, and they stop there in space, floating. Yondu's grip weakens. Quill turns to face him.
Yondu! Yondu, no!
Yondu grabs his son's face with both hands, looking and touching him with love.
No!
And Yondu's face expands and his body goes limp as he dies right there. And he starts to drift away. Quill grabs onto his shirt. He is crying.
No!
And suddenly behind Quill, Rocket and Drax propel themselves toward him in arrow rigs, grabbing him. Fade to black. Interior a collector's crematory later. Yondu's body lies on a plank here. Various colored cloths are laid in strips over his body and face. There are lilies beneath him, red fire pyres, and Yondu's toys all around. Rocket, Groot, Drax, Gamora, Mantis, and Kraglin surround the table. Quill is at the head. He has to say a few words, but it's not easy.
The other day I told Gamora how I used to pretend my dad was David Hasselhoff.
Rocket and Drax exchange a look. What?
He's a singer and actor from Earth. A really famous guy.
Drax nods, still not understanding it.
And you know, today it struck me. Yondu didn't have a talking car, but he did have a flying arrow. And he didn't have the voice of an angel, but he did have the whistle of one. And both David Hasselhoff and Yondu went on kick-ass adventures and hooked up with hot women and fought robots. So the thing is, David Hasselhoff kind of did end up being my dad after all. Only he was Yondu. I had a pretty cool dad.
Like Bob Barker. Quill starts to break down.
What I'm trying to say here is that thing you're searching for your whole life, sometimes it's right there by your side all along and you didn't even know it.
Gamora sees Nebula, watching from a darkened doorway before she turns and walks away. She moves after her. Groot looks up at an upset Rocket.
I am Groot.
Yeah, it's the friend I was talking about.
I am Groot.
He did call you Twig.
Well, Thor's gonna call you Tree. Interior quadrant, small hallway. Moments later, Gamora catches up to Nebula in the hall.
Nebula.
Nebula turns toward her, but she doesn't look her in the eye.
I was just a child, like you. I was concerned with staying alive until the next day, every day. And never considered what Thanos was doing to you. I'm sorry.
Nebula nods.
I'm trying to make it right. Everything I did. There are little girls like you, with little boys all over the universe who are in danger. You can stay with and help them.
Help them by killing Thanos.
Well, I don't know if that's possible.
We can know the future. Nebula shrugs. Maybe. She turns to leave, but Gamora grabs her, perhaps too roughly. Nebula turns, ready to snap, and Gamora embraces her. Nebula does not know how to react to this.
I'll always be my sister.
Tears well in Nebula's eyes, and for just a moment, she embraces her sister back with one hand before pushing her away, leaving. Wow. Interior collector crematory moments later. The Guardians lift Yondu on the plank. A bulbous and rusty crematory is at the center of the room. It doesn't burn with fire, but a swirling, vibrant cosmic energy. They slide Yondu in, and they watch with sadness and respect as his body is enveloped by the sparkling colors. Quill closes the door on the crematory. As Quill moves away, Kraglin approaches. Pete? Quill turns toward him. He's holding something. Captain found this for you in a junker shop. Said someday you'd come back to the fold. Kraglin puts an MP3 player in his hand. I had one of these. It's called a Zoom. What everyone listens to on Earth nowadays. It's got 300 songs. Quill touched. Not touched. Quill holds out Yondu's arrow. Kraglin's lip trembles.
Rocket grabbed the pieces and reassembled them. I think Yondu would want you to have it.
Thank you, Captain. Yondu's sparkling ashes are blown out in spurts from the crematory in space. Interior quadrant flight deck, outer space. Rocket, Drax, and Mantis are here, watching Yondu's ashes in the vacuum of space, swirling almost magically. Interior captain quarters, outer space. Quill sits down on the bed in Yondu's quarters. He scrolls through the selections on the Zune. He comes to Father and Son by Cat Stevens. He presses play. He listens. As he does, Groot crawls up onto the bed and then onto his lap. Quill offers him one of the earbuds. Groot holds it against his ear, amazed by the clarity of sound. Quill watches him, hearing the beauty of the song more through Groot's face than the music itself. And they sit there together, listening to the music, a new father and son. Interior M ship, outer space. Nebula flies away, sad, perhaps regretful, but forcing her chin up to brace against what's to come. Interior quadrant, small hallway, outer space. Gamora watches through a window as Nebula leaves. Interior quadrant flight deck, outer space. Rocket sees something by the ashes. His eyes alight.
They came.
Interior captain quarters, outer space. Groot sees colorful flashing lights out the window. He pulls on Quill's shirt to show him. They go to get a better view. Interior quadrant flight deck, outer space. Drax and Rocket see Yondu's cosmic ashes pulsing and swirling out in space as one by one enormous Ravager ships arrive around them. They each flash specific light sequences, and with all the ships together, it looks like fireworks.
What is it? I sent word to Yondu's old Ravager buddies. Told them what he did.
Quill comes up behind them with Groot. Just as Gamora enters, Quill smiles.
It's a Ravager funeral.
Interior hallway, outer space. Kraglin sees it from here. He screams with joy. Yeah! Yeah! And he slams his fist twice against his chest, a Ravager salute. Stackar and Martinex watch him there moved.
He didn't let us down after all, Captain.
No, he did not, son. He did not.
Interior, exterior, Ravager flight deck 2, outer space. Charlie 27, Marcellus Wallace, an enormous man, is wistful as he salutes.
Fare thee well, old friend.
Interior, exterior, Ravager flight deck 3, outer space. Aletta, Michelle Yeoh in her double role is here, tears in her eyes, alcohol in her hand, and all female Ravager crew around her.
See you in the stars. Yondu Uta.
Travis. Interior quadrant flight deck, outer space, and the Guardians all watch, enchanted by the majesty.
Didn't chase them away.
Nope.
Even though we yelled at him.
Quill shakes his head.
It's always mean.
Quill shakes his head.
And he stole batteries he didn't need.
Yep, something Merle do in The Walking Dead. Quill is surprised. Wait, what? And then he looks at Rocket, a little animal who doesn't know the rules of how to be any more than a young boy whose tribe sold him into slavery.
Of course not.
Baby Groot is on Gamora's shoulder. He reaches for Drax, who takes him. Baby Groot yawns and nuzzles into Drax's shoulder, falling asleep. Drax lovingly pats his back. Gamora looks at Drax and Groot and Rocket and Mantis, taking it all in, this strange family of hers. She turns to Quill, staring at him with love.
What?
It's just some unspoken thing.
Quill wraps his arm around her and she sinks into him. Mantis smiles and becomes teary and gasps, overwhelmed as she looks out the window.
It's beautiful.
It is. And so are you. On the inside.
They turn back to the window and they stand there together, our guardians of the galaxy, watching the Ravager funeral and the colorful dust of an old friend dance. And the shape of the dust seems to form something very close to an arrow. Rocket sees this and cries. The end. Not really. Run credits. Surrender, surrender by Cheap Trick plays. Credit break 1. Interior Eclector. Hallway, outer space. Surrender is playing here. Kraglin has a version of Yondu's fin implanted on his head. He looks nervously down at the arrow on the floor. He tries to whistle. I seriously can't whistle. It just flips around like a dead fish. He whistles again, and it flies up, hitting the wall, and falls back down again. He whistles again, and it zips away. We hear a scream. Ah! Kraglin looks around to see the corner where Drax is sitting, the arrow impaled in his chest, yelling in agony. Ah! Kraglin looks around, hoping no one saw him here, and then tries to slip away. More credits. A surrender chorus kicks in. Mommy's all right. Daddy's all right. They just seem a little weird. End credits. Interiors. Rock ship. Outer space. Stackar looks sad and super serial.
It's a shame it takes a tragedy like losing Yondu to bring us all back together. But I think he'd be proud if he knew we were working as a team again.
Over Stackar, we see this incredibly motley crew. Martinex, Charlie 27, Aletta, who is holding Mainframe, a robotic head in a cage, and the mouthless worm-like Kruger, bitch.
What say we steal some shit?
In.
Dope.
I missed you guys.
Kruger makes a hex symbol, and 2 colorful thumbs up burst in front of him.
Hell yes.
End credits. Interior birthing pod's chamber. Ooh, here we go. Day. Aisha sits on the bench brooding, disheveled and still furious. The chambermaid cautiously approaches.
High Priestess, the council is waiting.
They are perturbed. I have wasted our resource.
The chambermaid smiles politely, nods slightly, agreeing in a circumspect manner. Aisha stares across the way.
When they see what I have created here, their wrath will dissipate, though it will be some time.
The chambermaid looks where Aisha is looking.
That is not just another birthing pod, ma'am.
That, my child, is the next step in our evolution. More powerful, more beautiful, and more capable of destroying the guardians of the galaxy.
A large human-sized cocoon stands where Aisha stares.
I think I shall call him Adam.
Warlock, played by Will Poulter in the next movie. Box over credits, interior Groot's bedroom, outer space. Quill is standing in the bedroom doorway looking down.
Dude, seriously, you gotta clean up your room. It's a complete mess.
Ruvio a gawky adolescent, Groot. hunched over playing a video game in his very messy room.
I am Groot.
I'm not boring, man. You're boring. Once I got stuck on a planet where everyone was just lines and dots. I had to use some geometry to get out of prison. Is that boring?
And listen, Groot shakes his head in disdain.
You know what's boring? Not doing the dishes. What's boring is me tripping over your vines everywhere.
And listen, Groot sighs.
Drax and I switched pants in the middle of the party last weekend for no reason other than we're awesome and not very much boring at all.
Quill starts to walk away, then comes back.
Once I got venereal disease that made me float for 3 days. Don't tell Gamora. It's dormant, but if that's boring, then I guess I'm boring.
He looks at him.
I'm not boring.
Groot rolls his eyes and makes an exasperated sound that George perfectly did.
What's boring is when you roll your eyes like that at me and make me an exasperated sound like I'm an old, boring, stupid idiot.
Quill thinks.
Now I know how Yondu felt.
Quill begins to cry.
Yondu.
Cut to black before we can see any more. The end.
All right, good job, guys. Especially Erik, you had a lot to say. Thank you for making it through the whole thing. All right, guys, thanks for watching our Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, and we will see you soon.